Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We're in a draft, as you can see. I am 4x4. That is RMC. We're right into this one. Cade versus Los. RMC, just for transparency, right off the rip, this is the only series we're going to be able to stream today. Weekdays make things tricky, as you saw by the fact that we had no stream yesterday, but we're here as much as we can be. And I think that's what really matters. But RMC, I do think, this isn't just Cope, that this series will tell us more about these two teams than the other one, Loud versus Fluxu, up next. To me, if Loud wins, great. My opinion doesn't change on either of their teams. If Fluxu win, great. Enjoy sixth place instead of eighth place. But with this one, RMC, these are both teams that are fighting to prove that they belong in the top half. Who do you have a little more faith in as Pantheon gets locked in immediately for the summit?
Well, first of all, we should note that these teams currently VKS tied third, Los Grandes sat at so fifth. That's really fake. When both teams are currently actually tied in terms of series scores, they're both 2 wins, 1 losses.
Yeah.
1 game loss separates the two teams. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you. This will tell us a lot more about the teams because you kind of told me behind the scenes that you don't have much faith in Los Grandes, never did. And I'm kind of the same way with Evo Stars. Not so much that I never had faith in them, but they still feel really shaky to me. So the win here, this head-to-head matchup, like you said, kind of tells us who's more top half, who's more bottom half. But really what I'm looking for is a little bit more consistency. And if we pick a Twitch, well, that's wild off again.
That hover was like a little too long, even for you and I that have, we've known not to believe in the hovers. But after a certain point, it's like,
I know they're out of time with how long that took. But no, it's just going to be the Nico for Ackerman. Yeah, and like I said, I just want to see that these teams have kind of figured out their style and that they are consistent. Miryu looked a lot better over the weekend, but you know what? 2 games is not enough to sell me, and Los losing to Loud, I feel like just validates a lot of the concerns that you had about Los.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think both these teams are good enough where you can't just like fall asleep, right? You can't just, assume it's going to be a walkover. They will bloody some noses. But I think for me, like, I have a little more faith in Cade because I've seen more of a body of work from a lot of these players. Whereas with Los Grandes, the best that I've seen from these guys, and this is not to slag them off, is Rumble locked in or Wiser. So you got Rumble with CC, fantastic. You've got Nocturne with a dive buddy, also fantastic. We'll see what they lock in here. You want to take some, a bottom lane pick away. Nope, it's just going to be the blind Ari for Miru. But RMC, the best I've seen from Los Grandes is winning a bunch of best of ones early on in the split. You get a gold star for that from me and nothing more.
Yeah, well, Los was 2-0 until they met Loud on Sunday, and
true, and they did beat Furia. To be fair, but one of those wins, Tatu was on Nar Jungle. It doesn't count.
We're never gonna let him move that one down.
No.
Aurora being locked in for Los Grandes there. A flex pick to come through from that. That could be either top or mid lane, and I like the idea from Los Grandes to be able to enable that. The Vivo Kate Stars drafting though, picking both your solo lanes this early, it's already kind of tipped your hand that you're looking for picks. You're not even necessarily looking for the big AoE enabled for Rumble. It's kind of going to be a damage overload composition. The point and click is going to be really nice to the Pantheon, but I am a little bit concerned trying to do that into a Nocturne who has so much global pressure.
Yes, and I mean the Pantheon does as well. Nocturne a little bit more. But look, you've got 2 high-powered. One really high-powered solo lane here. We'll see what gets picked into it, right? If there are any bans that you want to take away, if you're Cade, or you're just saying, look, whatever it is, it's going to be a bad matchup unless you're going to ban away, something like the Scion that's just going to nullify the matchup effectively. Or maybe Zest, look, he has priors for this. Maybe he just fights fire with fire. I wouldn't be surprised either way, honestly. Although I will admit I am a little surprised that with a Rumble blind and just Scion being Scion, we haven't seen anything target up at the top lane as far as the bans are concerned.
Yeah, Rumble's pretty safe in the top side. He doesn't. Aurora's actually one of the potentially worst matchups he could run into. So at that point, you're kind of just like resigned to the fact that the Aurora could always just flex in the top lane and mess you up. So I think they're really just focused on the AD carry right now. I like the Ezreal takeaway because we kind of talked about the point and click from VKS. It's going to be difficult for your AD carry to stay safe, and the biggest way for them to stay safe is just range by making sure that Pantheon can't get onto you. That Ari has to overextend to reach you, and hence why we see the Ezreal Caitlyn being removed. Los Grandes, on the other hand, they recognize, hey, bot lane is the only thing remaining for Vivo Kate Stars. We don't care that much about the AD carries. We'll find an answer there, but what we do care about is removing the supports. Lulu taken away with the Karma as well. If we're still looking at Enchanters, Seraphine's is still a thing. I don't think of it as a Highwing champion necessarily. But then again, Highwing did play Yuumi this split, so I don't think he's hurting for a champion.
Orky going to be locked in. I like that Caitlyn takeaway, sort of like you were referencing. Yeah, we'll see what Highwing wants to rip in here. Alista did get some buffs in 26-7. So we're going to go Callista Renata. So this is a very high octane draft here from Cade Stars RMC.
Did you have to put it that way for it? I still have trauma hearing those numbers. Anyways, yes. A lot of damage, a lot of quick potential from VKS. Now, decent team fighting to come through as well. I like the setup for Rumble. Those Grandes, what do they pair? Okay, so it's the Nico with the Corki, so that's got a lot of...
I wouldn't hate the Poppy, honestly.
Okay, so they're going to use the Aurora into the Rumble like we talked about. That's one of the better lane matchups you can pick into Rumble when he's so incredibly safe and solid. Rise to kind of round things out. Now, for those Grandes composition, I'm not seeing a lot of synergy for it. Yeah, you've got arguably double globals. I mean, Nocturne's Paranoia range is a lot further than the Realm Warp. And I'm not seeing too much value from the Time Warp. Like, Realm Warp with Nico, maybe. You could kind of get some sort of synergies going there. But by and large, it just feels like those Grandes has slammed meta power picks. And Cade Stars have just gone, well, we want champions with agency. We want to skirmish. We want to fight non-stop. And yeah, this game feels like it's going to be very much a win lane for Los Grandes, or just smash your face into it, and we're just looking for fights.
Yeah, VKS, they've got good pick tools as well, right? And you got a couple of champions, especially that Rumble, obviously, that you want to kind of get going. The scaling is definitely on the side of Los Grandes. But then the question becomes, RMC, you've got something like a Pantheon for DeSamis, the guy who is, he's the engine, the heart and soul of this team as of kind of, this year, right? He's come a long, long way from his days on that disaster of a Super Fluxu roster. And he's now very much leading the way on this. And the question becomes, RMC, and we'll see how game state dictates it, but what lane are you camping? Because everything except the Ahri, right? You need that jungle attention to get rolling, especially this Callista. It still makes me very nervous. Yes, she got the changes on her E where her Ren scales a little bit better into the mid and late game, but this champion still makes me nervous.
Sure, and I think the fact that, Samus, ever since he's joined Cade, has always been the engine of this team. He was meant to be, and CL has been working on him for that. And I look across to those Grandes as well. That jungle matchup is my lane my sort of matchup to watch here, because it's Drake Hero for Los Grandes. This guy goes toe-to-toe with the likes of Buki and Tatsu when it comes to early game aggression. And I wouldn't be surprised if, we talk about where DeSamis looking to gank. Maybe DeSamis doesn't get to gank. If Drake Hero's all up in your jungle, up in your grill, maybe DeSamis has to actually sit back a little bit and defend his own jungle, especially with this sort of Nocturne Pantheon matchup. It gets a little bit iffy because Pantheon is kind of strong early, but if it just comes down to auto attacks, with the spell shield that Nocturne gets, that 1v1 can get a little bit dicey, and I feel like it's up to the lanes to kind of assist the junglers should Drake Hero decide to get aggressive.
From that perspective, I absolutely agree, but it's going to be a question of how well are those lanes able to do that into some pretty tough matchups. Like you said, Aurora Rumble, that's not as bad as it could be. I think Ahri's going to have the advantage here early against.
Mas o natural seria de que ele fosse pra cima.
Beleza, meus amigos, rapidão, enquanto o jogo tá no início, deixa eu chamar a foguetinha.
Sorry, I heard noise and I thought it was you, but it is the stream volume. There we go. It's our good friend Gruntar and Colossus. And that's all right, Mr. Producer Dia. If I just needed to know because I was freaking out. Now I know. So I'm muting the VMix tab and we're fine now.
Sorry for I'm just not suddenly amazingly able to speak Portuguese. I wish I was, but
well, yeah, no, exactly. So like they're saying words that I can understand. It's not just white noise to me. I can't like actively tune it out. I have to mute it. Anyway, yeah, no, but if, like you said, if Drake Hero wants to get aggressive, and I mean, look, this could be one of these things where, I mean, and we've seen this a lot, right? It's not a ganking meta. It is a bit of a power farm to 6 meta. And with these two champions, especially, obviously big global impact ultimates, you want to just be ripping them off cooldown. I don't see that happening personally.
Really? I mean, I feel like with the champions, you have to do it regardless. What I suspect we might see is the end result might be, as you say, the sort of a nothing burger, as both of them show up in the same fight. But I do want to see DeSamis and Drake Hero trying to get that impact as early as they can. Just
I'd like to see it. No, I mean, I think like the level 3 gank, because it is sort of quote unquote unexpected, as Miru trades very nicely here with Feisty, all things considered. It could be awesome, especially because you've got. So I say this more for Cade, that I would like to see it. I just don't think it's going to happen.
That's fair, and I think that will be that will tell us a lot about the teams, and that is kind of the point of this particular matchup. I feel like for you and I, it's to just kind of, and for a lot of the viewers, regular viewers of CBLOL, is how good are these teams? Because if we think back to Los's sole match loss so far, which just on Sunday was against Loud, and how they lost was interesting. It wasn't Loud scaling up to 35 minutes and winning on a Baron flip, which we saw so much of in the Cup. It was Loud actually taking control of the game and outpacing Los Grandes, which is an insane thought when you think about how Los Grandes usually wins their game and how aggressive Drake Hero is. And then you think back to how VKS won on Sunday as well. Granted, it was against Fluxu, not
Nice
exciting.
charm right into Desamis. Jump slam, vault. No. Aegis vault, shield vault. There we go. I got it eventually. First blood over to Desamis. Heels popped here in the bottom lane. As CEO and Kaiwing trading very aggressively here into Dudu and Ackerman.
Yeah, and you know what? That right there, I was about to explain how VKS got their win. That right there. Same thing. Just be proactive. And we love to see that Desamis got in there first. He's got the point and click stun, the shield vault. Is that what it is?
Shield vault, not to be confused with Aegis assault.
Okay, yeah, the shield vault just hopping in.
Oh, that's a kill. CEO just got it. Now the bailout coming through. He might be able to get this one dash too much as Dudu flashes away to safety, but a 1-for-1 on the bottom lane.
Okay, these teams are few and feisty. Like that bot side trade did not need to happen. The mid gank, beautiful from Desamis.
Yeah,
the
that was
bot
clean.
fight, that was choices. Kaiwing going for the handshake, looking for the kill. It ends up costing CEO his life, and I kind of don't like that. First blood's already gone down, no extra gold from that. Dudu getting the kill and getting the extra farm, that might make a difference. And we've seen Dudu on his Corki. That was the champion that he spammed in the CBLOL Cup.
Yeah, and he was kind of on that a little bit earlier than others were, right? It was a bit more of that, or those, the set bot lane trades. We get another replay here, but it's going to serve him well. I mean, as we don't see Ashe Nautilus here because it is not, Ashe Seraphine here because it's not a Furia game. Although that still does surprise me. It's still just, it's so strong. What are you giggling about over there?
Oh, we'll find out after. Miru, okay, I was a bit worried that Miru would go down there, but able to duck, dodge, and weave to make sure it doesn't get tagged up by any of that the extra damage. Yeah, I agree. I think Ashe Seraphine is such a strong combo, but it just feels like Brazil, as has been stereotypical for them, I feel like, hates going to Enchanter metas from tank metas, so it takes them a while to switch over, and that's why we're still seeing a lot of the Rakan bans, we're still seeing a lot of the Nautilus come through, when I feel like most of the other regions have switched to Enchanter plus Hyperscale for the most part. But we're getting there. There are supports that are willing to do that, and yeah, it's not just JoJo either. Like, Highwing can definitely play it, Ackerman can play it, Zest, Lane Weiser.
Might be all right here. There goes Miru. All right, pop the ultimate. That's what you wanted. But you did expect a ghost on the other side here, retreating into the safety of your jungle. As Weiser gonna ult the wave, should be all right, all things considered.
Unfortunately, Zest actually pulling the wave, or by pulling the opposing minions downwards, actually pulled his entire wave over the Equalizer as well. So the Equalizer going to be very effective at clearing that out and buying Weiser some time. It will still mostly be consumed by the turret though, so that is a wave still drop. 500 gold advantage to VKS right now for the game. The lanes have been, I think, they have been trading quite heavily, but the only differential really coming through the ganks from the Desamis, as you were expecting. Drake Hero soon to hit level 6. That's when I want to see those grandes try and turn things around, because we've seen what happens when they're on the back foot.
Yes, it's not amazing, and in this game with this specific with these drafts, I don't think it's gonna be much better. Kaiwing has to flash away to safety now. CEO gonna try to take matters in his own hands, but he's caught in 1v2. The barrier goes up. Dudu gonna absolutely make him pay for it. Feisty, meanwhile, grabbing a kill there onto Desamis, and all of a sudden those grandes are out in front. Now Mirror should. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Wow, that landed. Didn't expect to have that sort of range. Drake Hero coming in here with the Umbral Assault, going to get the fear down. Should be enough to lock him up for Ackerman. At least get some damage down onto him, but it will not be enough to kill him for now. Yeah, Feisty went back up to the mid lane. Gonna crash this.
Yeah, Drake Hero not opting to stay around, wait for that level 6. One more minion would have done it, but Kaiwing was already back, so the dive would have been ill-advised. We get to see a bit of replay on
Ooh.
how this starts.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
I don't remember seeing that death. Again,
Oh,
I'm
no.
kind of confused about when that happened, but I actually kind of don't hate it, what Kaiwing did right there. Like, if you're dying to an execute the minions anyways, it's fine, and he was just holding the wave so that CEO could pick up the whole rest of it. I think that's one of the reasons why CEO is actually up CS on Dudu, despite the interesting trade choices that this bot lane has decided to make. VKS,
Yeah.
VKS is a bot lane, to be specific.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right, right? Like, look, what did it cost us? Nothing. Right, a little less time on the map, but that's kind of it. Also hilarious to see the triple Corki minimap images in the bottom right there for a second. There were 3 of them. You know, the replay now of what actually happened in the bottom lane. Skywing taken out of the fight completely, and then Los Grandes just punished CEO.
I feel like this is kind of a repeat of what we saw for CEO and Kaiwing are making questionable trade decisions. Like they're not winning that. Miru chasing this, had to burn the flash. Worth noting, did not a spirit rush, but yeah, that charm felt like on a range extension. I see having a flash, but will survive the gank.
Yeah, no charm that I've ever thrown out has gone that far. I will tell you that much. That's all I'm saying.
Do you even play mid lane 4-4? I thought you're a jungler. Or support something.
Yeah, well, I play ARAMs and stuff. And ARAMs are where I like play the champions I want to play, but that I'm not good enough to play, like AD carries in mid lane.
That's fair. Okay, and
otherwise I'm just on tank duty with my friends, and that's okay because that's how I keep them the least angry at me, justifiably so. That is.
You need to play mid lane.
Grenade
Mumu mid lane.
No, I can't play a Nivea in the mid lane, but that's about it.
Yeah.
If that gets banned away for some reason, then I cannot take that. Dragon, meanwhile, being taken on the bot side by a squad of Evocade stars. So look, Dasama's making good on this pressure in the bottom lane so far. Now Vyson over the wall, Feisty in trouble. He's toast. Drake here gonna get the fear down, but dashing with the spirit rush out of danger is Miru. They live to fight another day. Get in, get out, and this is what you wanted to see, RMC. Right? I'll put it this way: this is what I wanted to see from the pick tools that K do have on their side.
And I suppose this shouldn't surprise us, right? The identity of these teams, those Grandes, is that sort of aggressive, mechanical, we'll trade with you constantly and early sort of team. And VKS was supposed to be the macro team, but it's been a bit of time since we've seen that. But right, this game, it's happening, right? Those Grandes, we look across CS, they're actually winning the 1v1s. Every time we pan to an isolated lane, Zest is pushing Wiser down, forcing him to recall. Icy is pushing up against Miru. Bot lane, Duda, and Ackerman are winning out a lot of their trades. But yet, if we look at the gold and we look at the kills, it's VKS up ahead. Again, see, like, Kaiwing and CO seem to be struggling in the 2v2.
It's call in, followed right by the Pantheon. Dasama's coming up with the Grand Starfall, but the Pop Blossom's going to take at least one down. Dudu going to come out on top in this one. It's a 1-for-1. So 2 down on one side, 1 on the other for now. But now Dasama's going to get a little bit of much-needed help from Miru. Juked him with the clone, and that's enough to keep him safe. Feisty was there covering just in case.
And that's what we mean. Right? Again, 2v2, lost from CO and Kaiwing. Dasamas had to show up, and even then, they're just trading equal. But Dasamas feels like he's moving that little bit faster. Miru is constantly roaming out to help his side lanes to equalize things. And this creates a weird dynamic where it feels like now the pressure is weirdly on VKS to constantly make action happen. Because if they just leave the lanes isolated, Los are going to start finding themselves leads. And then we've seen what happens when they get ahead. Mid-game rolls around. They start winning fights through their wallets, through their aggression, and then they close out games that way. But Los, as a team, I feel like is not a team who likes to sit back. So they will be making moves, and they have to be careful about that. If the Sam is outpacing them, you could put yourself in a hole trying to force things.
Like they're still very much trying to get those picks, like we were saying. I mean, Dasamas, he's moving around very efficiently and effective here. It has to be said. Just the one paranoia from Drake here, and it's been used defensively. Charm forward, CC chain. Won't be enough to kill Feisty, but it will get a ghost out of him. So little by little, I mean, Dasamas, his trips to lanes have been pretty efficient. They haven't always gone the way they, quote unquote, should, or maybe Cade fans are hoping for. But at least he's doing what he should do on this Pantheon so far.
Yeah, and props to Feisty for surviving the pressure. It feels like Samus is kind of set up in mid lane. Like, that's just an extra camp he has to get past. Like, hey, clear top side, wander through mid, throw a stun, go down bot. Finish bot side, throw a stun in the mid lane, right? And it's small advantages, but it is forcing Feisty to burn that ghost almost on cooldown. Sum's almost on cooldown. Once Feisty gets the Rod of Ages stacking, things get a little bit easier because he gets a little bit tankier. But trying to slow down that rise, I think, is... Every time we pan up here, man, like Zest is just pounding away on Wiser, and that's worrying. Like, Rumble is supposed to lose that lane, but... And actually, Wiser's done a great job, like, not falling too far behind. But it's just really rough seeing that constantly happen. It also means the Equalizer is always used to farm, and will never be present for team fights or ganks.
No, you're absolutely right. Feisty, going back to your previous point, yeah, Feisty gets rolling here. I mean, I absolutely favor Los Grandes' their composition, but also just the amount of damage that is going to come out of all 3 of these champions or Los Grandes. I mean, okay, they don't have a true tank, but they do have CC and ways of disruption. So, and look, and Rise is going to be sort of a faux tank. Zest is going to have one more piece of mobility. I don't worry about Los Grandes' ability to team fight at all. Do you?
No, and that's why when we looked at their draft, it's not a very cohesive draft from Los Grandes, but I didn't necessarily hate it. It's just a lot of meta power picks, and it's kind of fine. And that's why the pressure for me was always on Cade to show what the air composition can do. You've got a lot of damage on Cade. You're also running a damage overload composition, but it's much more pick oriented. And right now, the early game looked great. They were using the charms very effectively. They were using the stuns from the Samus really effectively, but again, it just feels like we've gone back into that isolated lane state. Los is starting to pull ahead in just straight lane leads, 1,000 gold advantage right now. And hey, they need to start moving around. They need to start showing me what happens when they can actually get more bodies in there. Because so far, having the numbers advantage has been in their favor. But when it's been equal, it hasn't favored them. And with second Drake coming up in 15 seconds, with the lane rotations that we're starting to see come through with the I suspect Feisty's Rod of Ages soon to complete as well. It does feel like the window for Cade to play is starting to narrow a little bit, and they need to find these early leads.
Yeah, because I mean, not only though the window is starting to narrow, the gold lead on the opposite side is starting to widen. Every time I look up, it's 800, oh it's 900, oh it's 1,000. And now, actually a pretty good spot to fight here, I will say. But a big TP coming here from Zest. Hang on a second. I was gonna say because Zest is the weight, he's the one that has a big item spike over his opposite number, but now Drake here going to turn out the lights. In goes Zest from the back line. They've collapsed onto Vivo K-Stars. Will it be enough? The Fate's Call going to buy a little bit of time. Okay. Equalizer goes out. We're not going to find much here. Zest gets deleted immediately. Cade actually fighting super well. The ultimate's used to take Los Grandes out of the river entirely. Now going in there, the Pop Blossom just going to find one. Drake here going to get the kill onto Miru. Los Grandes still with decently sized health bars. Samus goes forward, gets a stun, not quite enough. Valkyrie back is doo-doo. Samus is so low, but with the Proto Belt, one more charge here. Drake here are going to get the fear onto Weiser, and Los Grandes somehow come ahead 2-1.
Is this Cade? They look like Los on the left, the way they're team fighting right there. They have so much. Oh, hold on, doo-doo. Okay, it's fine. The way they re-engage that is so questionable for like they have so much upfront burst damage, and they used it well. They got the numbers advantage. They got the single pick off onto Zest, and then why did we opt back in there? We don't have the sustained damage to do so, and you saw them get punished. And from a winning position around Dragon, they end up losing control of it, giving the gold lead over from the fight as well. And those Grandes, right, we're talking about this is how they win games, right? Like we are better individually. We get a small lead, and then we force you into the fight. So at this part, Cade are still together. They're still fine. Zest hops in, and that's really risky. I love the way CEO kind of bails out Kaiwing and then re-engages the fight. And right here, they get the kill. It's done. It's fine. Unfortunately, you kind of lost Dragon. What you should be doing is just drop a ward in the Dragon pit. If Los overcome into Dragon, you're done. Instead, they go for the extra pick. And where's the damage come from? Look at this. There's no more burst damage. Weiser's not able to put out the burst damage. I mean, Decides hops in, looking for the stun. Doesn't quite find it. And then, yeah, the only thing you can do is expect CEO to pump out consistent auto attacks. But you can see how locked in Los Grandes are. They were ready at every time to just punish if CEO ever tried to step up.
Little discoordinated from BKS. Yeah, well, like you said, it was just CEO. And I mean, with the Samus being as low as he was, right, you don't have a big kind of disruptor. And with Miru dead, you don't have another body that you need to watch. It was pretty easy target selection with Weiser being so low as well. Zest taken very low. Drake hero says, thank you very much. I think I should be able to take it from here. Okay, gets Miru out of lane, but the Samus shows up, right place, right time. If he goes in there with just looking for the one kill, he probably won't make it out alive. So, gonna loop back around, restart the Rift Herald, maybe. No, looks like Los Grandes have first purchase onto that. Yeah, Drake hero, very healthy. And with enough onus to be able to take control of that river, for now anyway. RMC, now, I mean, that really felt like a good spike for them to fight over. And now Feisty's got that Rod of Ages. And he is very close, about 1,000 gold away from getting the Archangel Staff as well. And all of a sudden, now these fights become so much more difficult. And Los Grandes, as Cade are going to take this Rift Herald, they don't mind fighting in these close quarters.
No, and that's why that fight was the ideal time for Cade to punish Los, because you know Los is going to take every fight they can get their hands to. There's never been a fight where Los has taken a look and said, yeah, that's not for me. No, they're always going to go for it even when they're behind. Now, as you said, Rod of Ages completed. In 9 minutes time, it's fully stacked. Things are only going to get harder for VKS. The other thing to point out is the experimental Hex Plate for Drake Hero that's completed as well. I'm expecting Drake Hero to now get more aggressive in these side lanes. So Desamis is also going to find a harder time looking for these isolated picks that he executed so well in the early game. Because, yeah, who are you going to after? We just saw the topside gank onto Zest. Well, Zest can probably survive and expect Drake Hero there. If you go for Feisty, they might be able to straight up turn that fight, because I don't think Miru's got the stats he needs right now to actually handle Feisty and Wiser as well.
No.
He was like, he's a bit behind the curve. Going for the Proto Belt, not the usual burn that we see. It's great for initial burst, not so great into tank members.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. Like, the more I've seen kind of the proto belt on, on mages in a tankless meta, flat pen is king, so I don't mind it. And look, a little bit of extra mobility never really hurt nobody. But Rumble feels like an exception, right? It feels like you do still want to build the Leandry's Riftmaker kind of 1-2, right? That flat pen I don't feel like is doing you as much good. But hey, what do I know?
Well, that pen is good in that you're up against a whole bunch of squishies. There's no true tank on the other side. And when he was laning into the Aurora, into Zest, he needed the extra burst of damage to actually be able to win those trades because of Aurora's trading pattern. She hops in, she throws a bunch of spells, and she hops right back out. The window is very, very small, so you don't get the consistent burn of Flame Spitter. Hence why Proto Belt makes a little bit of sense. But when you're trying to deal with Feisty later on, it's definitely going to hurt a lot more. Mirio has no clue what's about to happen to him.
Nope. He is blissfully unaware.
Okay. I'm disappointed they didn't go for this. Like, you could have realm board behind.
Yeah, Miru playing respectfully, it has to be said. At least I think. Maybe he saw him. I mean, actually, that stealth ward, I don't know if Kaiwing just put that down, to be fair. But either way, not much going to be happening here. Next dragon up in a minute and change, but Baron up as well. Don't think there's going to be a trade. I don't think either team has enough damage on either side. We'll just rip through that Baron and trade it for a third dragon. One of those infinitely more valuable than the other, given that the dragon doesn't even lead to soul point at this point. But yeah, man, I mean, again, I just keep looking over at sort of the item spikes that Los Grandes are going to hit. Oh, come on. That is tough.
Give us a number, Observer.
That is tough.
It is super. And that's kind of why I was expecting Feisty and Ackerman to go for Miru there. Even if you don't kill Miru, you force him back, you get the wave in, you just get the auto and more gold going over to your team. Because a 2k gold advantage at 20 minutes is not hugely significant. Like, given how close the game is, it is significant in the context of how close the game is, but not in terms of actual like item wallet differences. So it's just now going to walk in, take that one for himself, continue growing into a monster, and Drag's just about to come up. Cade starts once again first to the objective, but Los just feels stronger. They are muscling their way in sheer brute force.
Still think Cade have, as far as the ultimates are concerned, really big impactful ones, right? I mean, the equalizer, if that can be set up well, the hostile takeover can really, I mean, Dudu can just start, ripping into people. Drake Hero as well. Fate's Call can allow you to play fights so patiently. So I still think there is a way, obviously, for Cade to be the ones that take these fights, to execute their composition, this pick, hard CC, get in, rip one person to shreds, get out sort of composition. Maybe Los Grandes just surrender this dragon here, but it does look like they could be laying some sort of trap. It looked like they had an angle to come in, and here comes the Realm Warp, and here comes the Paranoia. Gonna just find one there. Hostile Takeover gonna go on the other side. Actually didn't do nearly as much as I thought. In comes Zest. They're gonna try the same thing again, because if it didn't work the first time, try it again under better conditions. Is exactly what they did. Now the Great Starfall into the Dragon Pit of all places. Like, Desapas is gonna want that one back. Gonna get just delete it. Go towards your tower or something here. Los Grandes get 2 kills. Plus VKS just wiped completely off the map, and now it's Baron time.
Yeah, Dudu gonna take that mid lane turret. No, we didn't take. Okay, so that's gonna finish it. Yeah, they needed to take that mid lane turret because it gives more control for them to go for this Baron. But yeah, for what an odd epic fight, and really good patience from Los to recognize that we don't care about the dragon. As you said, it's not even soul point. We want to get the kills off the back of it, grow our lead, blow the map open, and they're gonna be able to pick up this Baron. I don't know what that Grand Style from this time was, but it will cost them their smite. There will not be a contest.
Yeah, I mean, look, it would have been tough regardless, but just the kill over from the, the gold over from the kill, if nothing else. But anyway, now things are starting to look dire, right? Like you said, 2K gold at 20 minutes, not much, but I'll take 4K. That I will take, and now with the opportunity to do a lot more. RMC, what's the most concerning thing for you as far as Cade right now? Why are they here? What went the most wrong?
It just feels like they're not being proactive enough, and they're not being together. Feisty getting tagged up by the Charm. He doesn't care. That's a free engage for him. Miru.
Oh no, Miro found Zest and he didn't expect to find Zest. So now the Paranoia is going to be ripped again. Experimental Hexblade is a wonderful item on these types of champions, boys and girls. Now the bailout comes in. Not going to get absolutely anything. Ackerman in with the Pop Blossom. Now finally the Between Worlds popped as the cherry on top of this poop sandwich for VKS in this early game. That might be curtains, RMC. I don't see Los Grandes stopping anytime soon.
No, okay, that's probably not the end of the game right there, but that is the fight. That's really swung things. Like the Baron one was already rough, but VKS actually managed to equalize that by pushing immediately. But now an 8,000 gold lead going the way of Los Grandes, 4,000 off the fight, not even off the turrets necessarily, which they're now pushing into. And for you ask me, what do I think is wrong with Cade? Well, they are just making very questionable decisions. It's not even as a team anymore. Like individually, why are we looking for a fight in that angle? The team was not together, and also I just don't think that was the angle for it. You don't have enough vision control behind you. You've got the hex gates, which complicates matters, and then you're looking for Feisty. And because of that, now all the advantages that Los have is starting to come together. Again, their comp doesn't have the most synergy. Like you look at the way they're playing it, it's not as if they're coming together. It's more just we are strong and we are going to smack it in your face, and we have a lot of mobility tools. Los together, looking for Desamis.
And Desamis burned a Grand Starfall to get in here. And Drake here is going to burn a Paranoia to get them out of here. Desamis goes down. I mean, this is just a mess now. I mean, at this point now, Los can play with just reckless abandon. They were up 7,000 gold. Now they're up 10,000. You got to shut down. Okay, fantastic. Still don't see this going any sort of good for you. The death time is starting to get real long now. Now with this numbers advantage, you should be able to grab an inhibitor. I would hope, or at least make it so that you've got a good double push going into that mid lane as well.
Yeah, they gun for the reset. I think they took a little bit more damage on the dive than they'd like to be able to have, but as you pointed out, 10k gold advantage. All inners down. It's only the inhibitor turrets left standing for VKS. And one thing we should note is sort of the composition from VKS. We talked about how they did have a lot of pick potential early on, but it does rely on vision. And now with having lost all their inner turrets as well, that's when, as a defending team, as the losing team, it gets really tough. You don't have enough wards to cover everything. So you start having to pick which side of the map do you want to cover. Whereas Los also got to say, well, we don't want to play on that side of the map where you've got vision. We want to play on the other side. And then VKS, you're playing the dark. You don't have a lot of options. You're praying for Desamis to be able to find some sort of Grand Starfall flank angle, but he has no GA. And that's when you start throwing your Hail Marys.
I mean, did you see Project Hail Mary?
No, I did not.
If not, and anyone in the chat as well, go to your establishment of choice and watch that. Phenomenal movie. I cannot speak highly enough about it. Very good movie. Ryan Gosling hits another home run as, okay, K2 gets something back. But look at how long it takes to take down Feisty, man. He's got a lot going. But the tagline for the movie is, believe in the Hail Mary. Do not believe in these Hail Marys.
Oh, it's Brazil. We've seen weirder things happen, albeit not in recent years. So
yeah.
I think the last time I remember that was like Titans Red Cannons. It was when that was a split where it was like back to back from open nexus to winning games like multiple times.
Yes. Yeah. Oh god. Oh, that was pretty peak, man. The early 2020s, the early franchising gave us some bangers, man.
Yeah.
Some absolutely awesome. I mean, the Super Furia, right? Ranger was still in the league. It was peak, man. It was peak. Yeah. Drake here and company gonna grab just their second dragon of the game, but start stacking up these Hex Tech Drakes. They shouldn't need to, do any, much more of this. It's just about not letting Cade get soul point more than anything. Baron up in another minute and 30 seconds. Gonna start setting up around for that. That will be the fight that the fight or the objective that breaks this one open. RMC, I don't think we're gonna be here in another 10 minutes. I'll put it to you that way.
No, I agree. In fact, that dragon was also just them killing time, right? Because Feisty died, they're just waiting for Feisty to get back on the map. They can't push without him. You're at a numbers disadvantage. But it's just disgusting me that even with the pick happening, even with the bounty shut down, even with the 10k gold lead being shrunk, it doesn't change the game state whatsoever. Like VKS are still turtling. And remember what I talked about vision? Well, Cade now have to abandon the bot side. They got the vision initially, got the pick, and now they have to focus top side pressure. Zest has teleport available. So Zest can always just split push on this bot side while Low set up on the top side, potentially for a Baron, and just take their own sweet time about it. Because the dance is going to be to the beat of those Grandes drum.
Absolutely. And if there's one thing I've learned about dancing, you have to look confident while doing it, if nothing else. Even if you are a terrible dancer, if you look confident while you're doing it, you will at least get smiles thrown your way. You will at least get, a video camera pointed your way and being like, you know what? This guy's living his best life. And I wish I had that kind of self-confidence and freedom to move the way that I want to move. Cade are not moving very confidently right now. They're moving very trepidatious right now, I would say. Or if nothing else, Los Grandes certainly are moving a little more confidently. Right, Zest? Moving a very creative route there.
Yeah, it was sat right on top of a ward. Doesn't actually have
say.
vision to enable this flank. So that's, I think, wisely backing off, recognizing that, hey, I don't know what's going on. Oh, Desamas?
Right. But they've got numbers advantage here, so Grand Starfall
Okay.
time, and they're going to walk away with 1 kill. Oh,
What?
surely Doodoo going to walk away. And that, to me, with the flash and the barrier burned, is just a health bar diff. And now Zest comes in. Can they lock him down and grab a kill? They actually can. Shutdown coming in here for VKS. And now they've got Los Grandes on the ropes here a little bit. CEO staying alive. CEO doing damage. Wiser picking up a kill here. Hang on a second.
Is that a smile on your voice I hear for? Because those look real confident when they screwed that one up.
Yeah, they really did. Yeah, Zest was off in Narnia. I got to respect the call from Desamas. Saying, look, we're down that big zone control, I mean, the dude's on 3 items. Shadow Flame, Rabadons, plus the Protobelt. That is a ton of damage. That's not available for Los Grandes. Now, Ackerman looking for the massive Pop Blossom here. This Baron is going down very, very slowly. I don't know if this was the call. Let's find out. 4-man Pop Blossom, but it's still swiped by Desamas. Now there's enough here. Drake Hero taken very low. VKS not dead just yet. Miru out of the fight. Miru back in. It's an ace.
And it's a turn. VKS, do we believe in the Hail Mary for his
Wow.
Found it. Just cutting the gold lead straight in half from just shy of 10,000 down to 5K with standing turrets. There's still an outer turret in the top lane, and all the inner turrets are up for Los Grandes. So there's a lot of gold to be made up if Cade can push up. Because it's still kind of scary. Yes, they won that fight, but in an open, flat ground fight, things get a lot tougher for VKS. This year, I could not believe Diddy got away. But in hindsight, looking how they played it out, the call from VKS is very clear. Where is Zest? We are waiting for Zest. Because the moment Zest shows up, look how they dump everything immediately onto him because they know the Aurora is the risk. And getting a kill onto Dudu would be nice. But getting him out of the fight is the key. And I think Los feeling a little bit too confident with their gold lead. This as well was huge and massive from Ackerman. If they just had one more body, they get that. But unfortunately, they don't. It's a 3v5. Let's not forget that. And the fact that Dudu, Ackerman, Drake Hero even got that close to wiping them out just shows you the gold lead Los had. The Los coaches, yeah, they can't believe their eyes either about how that fight broke.
And RMC, going back to the Zest point you made, that's now the second time that's happened, right? Where Zest is taking kind of a flank into a fight, and Cade immediately turn on and delete him. So again, in a straight up 5, in a flat ground 5v5, as you put it, and in a fight where Los Grandes can be a little bit more coordinated, this shouldn't happen. And also, not for nothing, look, CEO's on 4 items, but Dudu got a triple kill in that fight. So he is going to be rocking a little bit more gold. He's got the GA as well. So let's see how this one goes. Because now it's Dragon time, and all of a sudden, RMC, I've got to eat some of my words here. Cade making me look very presumptuous for feeling how I felt just a few minutes ago. But RMC, this is still, I mean, Cade are playing the composition to its strengths. And that is so hard to do. But it is a little bit of what we've talked about in Broadcast Pass, where if you are down like this, especially with a composition like this, you have to take some swings. And the criticisms that you leveled, right, weren't why are Cade fighting when they're behind? It's why are Cade fighting when they're not together, right? And there, they were together. Much better window, much better call, much better result for Desamas and co.
And it's kind of disgusting that Cade have messed up a lot of their early game team fights. It just took one fight to kind of turn things around. But that's modern League of Legends for you. There are so many comeback mechanics that teams have to close out clean. And now we've got to put the microscope, magnifying glass on those Grandes, because this feels like how they lost out in the CBLOL Cup. In the regular season, they do really well in the early game. They blitz people out. They get the massive gold leads. But should they run out of cash, should they kind of stumble a little bit in the mid game, that's when we see them start to falter. And for Los Grandes, I know that you've been a doubter of theirs, and rightfully so. This is the exact situation where they need to prove themselves. They still have a gold lead. They are still strong. Can they fix their mental and come back? And they need to coordinate as a team. If Cade are playing as 5, Los can't afford to play as 3 and 2 or as 4 and 1. They need to play as 5 as well.
I mean, Los Grandes just 6K gold just disappeared. Lots of money wiped out on the top side here. And now Los Grandes taking a page out of Cade Star's book. 3 ultimates, in fact, used just to pick off one Miru with no objective up. So I guess by the time the next objective is up, the ultimates will be back up as well. Gonna try to start a concerted little push here. I mean, it's not like Los don't have the pick tools. I mean, like we saw just there, you can jump on people in a hurry, but Icy down that Realm Warp, but he's on those 3 big items for the Rise. So he's going to be feeling really, really strong.
Okay, I really like that gank coming through, like you said, very 8 stars-esque. I don't like how Feisty has been split pushing on his own and has been caught out a couple. He didn't die most of the times he got caught out, but this late in the game, I mean, getting caught out at all as what happened to Zest looking for that flank angle. We saw what happened, and Los can't afford to down a member. A big push up from Los Grandes, as you call. No objectives, though. So not really securing anything. They're not even going to be able to get priority over the Baron spawn from this push. It is like almost 2 minutes away. So more of a, not quite virtue signaling, I don't know, like some sort of signal they're trying to put out there to their fans to say that, hey, we ain't dead just yet.
Yeah, something to give the Los fans just something to grab onto. Man, CEO's on 4.5 items now. Dudu is also on 4.5 items. I love the Jack show that's like just a commonly accepted part of the build path for Kaisa these days. Just getting that extra, you know, those extra resistances as that fight goes on. I think that's really funny. But as we get set up here, a little bit of that vision here for Cade as they approach the Baron. This will be where the battle lines are drawn. RMC 35. I was wrong again. I said we weren't going to be here in 10 minutes, 20 at the 25-minute mark. Look, we still might not. They still might be, you know, one fight, and then we blow it all open here if it's clean enough. But now we've got a little bit of the BR Ram in the mid lane as we can't decide exactly where to go with 30 seconds left. Vision kind of split in the river, it has to be said, between these two teams. Zest looking for another cheeky angle here.
Okay.
Can they jump on him immediately when it comes in? Desamis is way over there. He's in the back line. He's trying to go in. He does get into the back line. Equalizer goes down on the other side. Hostile takeover as the lights get turned out. They're trying to get on to Feisty. He's going to buy some time with the stopwatch. Now, Duda going forward. Remember, he's got the Guardian Angel to buy even more time should they want to. Ackerman gets nobody with the Pop Blossom. Desamis able to turn the fight around. Miru just barely stays alive. And Kate Stars now. Realm Warp used completely defensively. Los Grandes drop another one. Smite down crucially as now Cade have their sights on the Baron.
I thought the setup from Los was much better this time. You didn't have Zest half a world away on the flank angle, didn't actually get spotted on the ward, but the actual execution of the team fight is just better from Cade. And you can see Feisty looking a bit frustrated in the player cam there. They had the right angles, but weren't able to convert, and now VKS gonna get their second straight Baron. It was Los with a 10k gold lead, but it's Cade with back-to-back Barons, and that will utterly nullify the gold advantage that came through from Los Grandes early. VKS now, their skilling is not better for Ivar. Don't make a mistake on how, don't confuse how they're playing with how their comp functions. They should not be ahead, but they are executing well. And this fight, this Samus pulls the gun so early, he's isolated. But unfortunately for Los Grandes, they can't quite find the damage. And there, Miru surviving, I think, was pretty disgusting. If Miru goes down, things are kind of okay for them. They can maybe look for it, but on slivers of health, they just lack a little bit. And then Drake Hero going down, no smite, just means they have to back off. There's nothing they can find here. I don't even think they're going to be able to get the push out on the initial Baron. So Los firmly on the back.
Firmly on the back foot, and now still 1,000 gold up, it has to be said, but that gold is starting to matter less and less as these games go on. But now they've got to fight over this Hextech Soul. I mean, this would be brutal to give up. Ackerman, I actually think he is completely unseen now. Here they go, lights turn off. There goes the Pop Blossom. Vision down really, really low here. Berserk out as the hostile takeover lands its mark, but Kaiwing taken very, very low. Going to be able to stay on CEO just enough to get a kill, but not much else. Now Los Grandes taken low. Zest able to get a kill before he pops back out into the Spirit Realm. Drake Hero taken out of the fight. Going to take the Hex Gate. It's a 2 for 2.
But this is playable for Los now. They actually have equal numbers. Drake Hero just trying to heal up in the jungle a little bit. Doesn't want to give this one away. This is Soul to VKS. Never mind, I take it back. They are going to give it away. Hextech Soul to a VKS team that's kind of pulling ahead. That's really scary. And the fights are so chaotic. This is where I guess the lack of compositional cohesion for Los is coming back to bite them. Because Ackerman gets a great engage, but where do you go from there? It's every man for himself. Dudu ends up frontlining the fight because who wants to be in front of him? It's really only Drake Hero, and even Drake Hero kind of doesn't want to be front and center because he needs to be alive for the smite. So every man for himself. Dudu gets left exposed. The carries are taken down, and Cade, they just have enough tools to be able to win that fight slowly, front to back or inside to outside, because those got a great flank. They got every which angle they wanted, but VKS just moved together as a unit, Los Grandes.
Now with the Soul, things get really, really tricky. CEO's going to stack that up in a hurry. Isamis going to stack that up in a hurry as well. Los Grandes, I mean, they're not going to live this one down. I mean, we knew this series was going to be a banger. We were going to learn a lot about both these teams. I'm not sure exactly what we've learned, but I think we have learned stuff. I just think I got to take a little while to dissect it just that little bit. Feisty has been on these same 3 items for it feels like 10 minutes.
Zonia is not completed. That's the next big item he's kind of waiting for. But yeah, it's an odd situation for Los Grandes. What I did like them on that engage though was that they weren't afraid to pull the trigger, and I think they need to do that. The longer they take, it just feels like K-Stars is better at setting up for these big fights. So they need to basically pull the trigger before VKS is ready. But it's Kate looking for the engage again. Charm lands.
Charm lands, and another pick coming through as Ackerman taking very low. They'll time this just right. Easy money. Realm Warp again used defensively. Los Grandes have their tails between their legs. There's nothing they could do. Miru, my goodness, takes so much damage. But if Zest is able to actually get a couple combos down, maybe they can do something. I think that's another thing, RMC. We haven't really seen Zest get more than 1 spell rotation off in a team fight, it feels like.
Yeah, every time he's being forced out, he's kind of squishy. He's going for these flanks, and that I give credit to VKS for. I don't think Zest is necessarily doing anything wrong with how he's approaching these fights. It's just Cade are very hyper aware of it, and so they're either pushing him off immediately or punishing him when he goes in. But this is what I was talking about for Los. It feels like every time Cade pulled the trigger, they are ready for it, and Los are not. And once again, they get the pick immediately onto Ackerman, who had a good angle, got a good or could have looked for the ultimate if anybody could frontline for him. Even this part where Miru almost goes down, that's frankly Miru just diving face first into an Aurora. Like if Miru just plays that carefully and doesn't get greedy for it, there's no risk of him dying. And even when he gets tagged, he doesn't die. He doesn't burn any big summoners or his ultimate, which he had already used prior. So VKS don't lose anything from it. Now it is worth noting, Baron has worn out. VKS actually weren't able to get a push during the Baron effectively, because they fought for the soul and then Los was just challenging the fights after fights. But the fact they just took that inhibitor with no challenge kind of tells you he might not actually need the Baron to really accelerate the game. Or the inhibitor turret break, they might need it, but anything outside the base of Los right now, that's a lot.
As we know, just because something can happen doesn't mean it will. Doesn't mean because it's happened somewhere else. It can happen again. EKS, it seems like they're the ones more consistently executing on their teamfight conditions over and over and over again. So, and again, we're going to try the same thing over and over and over again for Los Grandes. I mean, this is the deja vu all over again. I've casted the same fight 5 times in a row. It's Zest on the bottom of your screen looking to get onto somebody, and the rest of the team is going to eat an equalizer and an engage, and the lights are going to turn off. Here we go. Zest is taking a half HP again as the lights turn off. Ackerman looking for a way in for a Pop Blossom. He's in his minion disguise. He can't get anything down. Gets a little bit of damage out. Zest gets a little more. But again, they just have no go button, RMC.
Yeah, Flash is being traded by the 80 carry CO using his to find Feisty left behind, not like this.
No, there's the side. He's gonna flash over the wall, and we're gonna get another reset in Check's watch. You know, actually, there's an objective up. So with the Baron, Cage should be able to start this up, and I think Los Grandes know that the TP coming into the top lane.
Okay, this is kind of disgusting too, because the ultimates are low enough cooldown at this point that they're going to be up for the next fight. Equalizer is almost back up at this point. Los running in. There will be no Realm Warp. That one will not be in time. Miru flanking Zest with a teleport from behind. Los have to go for this. Flash is still available for Ackerman. Equalizer used early once again.
Equalizer used very early, and now Baron let off completely. To be fair, I think that is the right part. Or the right call there.
Yeah. That Baron is so iffy, and the big difference I feel like this time between the last couple of times is that Cade actually got proper setup the last couple of times. This time they're not quite there. Los is also in position with most of their team fight ultimates up. And as we say that, I'm so puzzled. We went from Los being in position to stop the Baron. Cade walk away for 30 seconds.
And Los Grandes do nothing.
they left. Like we just didn't want to wait around. And I know I've criticized Lowe's for saying that they're giving too much time for VKS to set up, giving them 30 seconds though. But like you just can't be giving them Baron for free like that. And now they're trying for the Dragon side instead. They've got Vision set up, pre-set up, so there's not technically equal ground. But I'm looking at the angles, right? Ackerman is up front. Zest is not in a flank position just yet. VKS don't know about this. We'll see how they approach it, but it also feels like Lowe's are not ideally set up.
Well, now they're trying to, like I said, I kind of feel like they're trying to pull a Cade. As Miru just gets the charm onto Zest, and Zest has a flash into the blue buff pit. Feisty, he used the realm warp again just to get Zest out of trouble. Now, to be fair, here it's not the worst thing in the world, but Weiser just going forward. He has a ton of damage in his kid. Now, Samus gets out of the back line. Ackerman can't do anything with the Pop Blossom. There's your go button, completely gone. Zest can only do so much, and VKS are going to walk away the winners in this fight. They blow everything onto Los Grandes. No proactivity from Los Grandes whatsoever in the late game, and Cade make them pay. They're going to win the game.
I can't believe this. We have 43 minutes into a game that should have ended at 25. CEO not just going to run Drake Hero down. That's Drake Hero saying, yep, you know what? I know it's done. Like, I can't do anything. I can't even cut the wave because the Baron minions are too big. But yeah, we definitely learned, I feel like, a lot about both these teams this game. I'm glad that VKS has the mental fortitude to be able to actually come back in after an incredibly rough start to the game. But my goodness, you're right for calling Los Grandes frauds. After watching this game, like there's a lot that needs to be discussed, and I don't think you can fix all the problems those had in this game in the short break that they have in this series.
That's I mean, I said we're going to learn a lot about these teams. How Los Grandes come back in game 2 is going to tell us a lot about this team and what they are able to do, what their mental resilience is like, or if they're just going to come out with sort of the same thing. I mean, but RMC kind of looking, I mean, towards the back half of that game. I mean, you saw, I mean, Zest and Ackerman were doing their absolute darndest to be able to start a fight. But their coordination with the paranoia, it really felt like was not there. It felt like the paranoia was being used defensively more than anything towards the end of the games. And like, it was like if one of those two things didn't happen, then the paranoia was used as like, it felt like almost a panic button.
Yeah, it basically kind of like Feisty's ultimate was being used as a panic button. It was like when things go wrong, then we use those ultimates. So it felt like Los never quite got the engage they wanted. And I think a lot of that does come down to composition. The fact that, sure, you picked a whole bunch of meta champions, but how do they work together? Apparently not very well. And then you look over to the way VKS drafted. And I didn't think the skilling was great necessarily. I thought they were going to get outskilled, but you could see the division of labor was very, very clear. Weiser is supposed to be the guy who just lays down the red carpet to control the fight. You have Kaiwing on permanent defense duty, and it's a big reason why Zest kind of struggled. Anytime Zest tried to get in there, well, there was a very firm handshake waiting for him on the other side. Hostile takeover to stop the rest of the team coming through. Miru, I think, was the interesting one to me, because while everybody else had a very clearly defined role, it felt like Miru was sort of the volante of the team. You know, like he's just covering wherever he needs to be. Defensively, he can stop Zest from going out there. We saw him actually solo push Zest out as the game went on, but offensively as well, those ridiculously long range charms sometimes. Just finding critical targets onto Feisty, making sure they couldn't get damage out. So VKS, I like the division of roles. The system is working. The early game still could use some work, but if the game goes long, those Grandes' mistakes, their weaknesses, are definitely being exposed by this VKS team.
That was a rough one, man. That was really rough. I mean, because you had time after time after chance to get yourself back into that game. And we saw, I mean, Zest, right? He got into a fight, was able to get one spell rotation down. You can delete a carry. CEO has this much range. He's playing a Callista, right? I mean, okay, yes, you have the Jack show, so okay, right? I mean, I'll concede that, but a little bit of flat pen should be enough to take care of that. Plus a Shadow Flame and a Death Cap, right? Like you should be able to get in and delete at least one of these carries. And it just felt sloppy. It felt uncoordinated. But like you said, RMC, this Los Grandes identity continues to just be, we're gonna outhands you in lane. After that, God only knows. We'll find another episode of this in about 5 minutes here. So we're gonna take a quick break and go on to game 2 of this best of 3. We'll be right back.
to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of the world that we defy. A solo ride of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here. Game 2 of this Cade versus Lowe's series. So we're going to see Cade on blue side, and they will get first pick. That is what we saw on the draft screen on your bottom right. But look, if we're talking about draft after that game, I think we missed the point. I think we just missed the. I mean, okay, no, you're right. Okay, no, talk about it, because that was a bad blanket statement for me to make. You go ahead.
The thing is, it's actually Los who gets to pick whether they want to pick first or not. So they actually opted to pick last, which does raise an interesting draft point. Because on one hand, I kind of agree with you for I don't think I don't know if
that wasn't the main issue, but there were choices made in draft that Los Grandes couldn't play around.
Yes, and I feel like when you're choosing to go second, you do it for the counter pick, which doesn't feel like you're doing it necessarily for the team composition draft. It feels like they just want counter pick to smash lane again. So I kind of agree with you. Like I fear that the draft will not be quote unquote fixed by Los here in this game too. But we are into game 2 once again. It will be VKS with first pick. Bard being taken away from Ackerman. And frankly, to me, Ackerman was one of the bright spots for Los Grandes in game 1 with that Nico. You're not going to have another support which has that same
He certainly tried, man.
damage impact. Yeah, and Bard feels like the other one that could potentially have that level of impact. So I love that VKS recognize it, identify it, and say, nope, you shall not get it.
Karma taken away, Bard taken away, but again, it's just how brave do you feel about if you want to subscribe to the theory that there are just a few duos that you should play, kind of no matter what. Are you willing to break those up and take the individual champions at their own strengths, right? Ash still available, Seraphine still available, right? But the Ezreal that goes off and with the Bard and the Ezreal that goes with the Bard and the Karma, I should say. But a lot of bans targeted towards that bottom lane. Yeah, Dasama's not going to be on that Vi. Okay. We'll grab the Ash. So again, what are you doing here? Are you grabbing yourself a Seraphine? I say no. And I'm not going to say anything about the hover because I'm trying to instill good habits.
Yeah, that's right. Seraphine is a good champion individually. Yes. I just don't know if Duda and Ackerman play that style of champion. They like to play very aggressively, I find. And we look at the champions Ackerman has played. It's Nico, Nami, Bard, Karma, Alistar. Nami is the least sort of proactive of the bunch, and that's paired specifically usually with the work. So, I'm not expecting to see Ackerman pick something that passive normally. Now, there is Caitlyn being picked up, and with Karma being banned, with Bard being banned, it's not a bad shout to go for Seraphine. She can be very lane dominant, especially with the range advantage that Caitlyn has. You get the slow, you can lead into the traps, you can get a beat drop, stun into stun combo. There's a lot of potential there, but I think we're more likely to see, I don't know, I was going to say like a Morgana or something, or even just like a Nautilus, like some sort of engaged support for Ackerman to really kick it off.
Well, if you're hoping for an engaged support, you better hope that goes to Feisty. This could go either way. I mean, look, Caitlyn Nivea, that's a lot of damage early, certainly. And you've got good zone control as well. I would be surprised. I mean, man, look, I love Anivia as much. Actually, no, I love Anivia more than the next guy. Not as much as the next guy. I love that champion more than the next guy. I am still a little surprised at the priority that it is receiving. And just, I don't know. I mean, like you said, Ackerman doesn't play it that much, but it feels bad to give over Ashe Seraphine on non-consecutive picks.
Yeah, and I think the idea here is that Anivia is sort of one of the counters to Seraphine right now, which I love the enchanters, especially at Karma, where you just basically raise the wall when they come in to trade with you, lock them down. What was that face from Amazon? But yeah, you just raise the wall, lock them down, and then punish them by isolating them from the AD carry. The innate synergies with Caitlyn aren't that strong, but I could potentially see it as they view this as the counter to Ashe Seraphine, which I find kind of ironic when Ashe actually used to be a counter to Caitlyn in lane because she can out-poke Caitlyn with volley, slow her down, and set her up for team fights. But hey, we'll see how it goes. For now, we're seeing Zahen and Aatrox, both of which can be played top or jungle. I think Aatrox we're seeing a lot more in jungle. Actually, in Brazil, we see Zahen more jungle than top lane as well. So it'll be very interesting. They're both jungles, and both teams are weirdly similar right now in their early games.
No, I agree. Yeah, you've got big damage and aggression in the bottom lane. You've got these kind of, you've got Darkin junglers probably that they play stylistically similarly, right? You've got one little gap closer, right? But Zahen does scale a lot better just because of the pen that he gets in his ultimate just passively is nutty. But Aatrox can absolutely take over a game as well. But they both just kind of run at you. So kind of tying back to what we said in game 1. I want more setup on the side of Los Grandes because right now you don't really have it. You've got a lot of great things to follow up on that, but the setup isn't there for Los Grandes right now.
Yeah, they need some sort of primary engage as well. Because Zahen is great for damage, but he's not great for engage. If he dives in, he's got a ton of damage. He does more damage than Aatrox, but he doesn't have the tankiness that Aatrox has. And sure, he's got the ultimate as well, which will kind of bring him back. But again, if you don't have engage, you don't have somebody else to buy time. If it's just squishies on the level of Caitlyn and Anivia, everybody's just going to back off when you die, and then your corpse will just resurrect in the middle of the enemy team and die again anyways. So, completely agree with you. Where's the setup coming from? Cade, on the other hand, they've already got the initiate with the Ashe, with the Seraphine. They don't really need anything more. They can go with whatever they want. They want more damage in their solo lanes, feel free. They want a bit more utility, that's going to be great too. Mel, being hovered, the patch hasn't come through yet. She will be nerfed a little bit on the next patch, but for now, she is very strong in the lane, has a lot of burst in the early mid-game, and for VKS, when you see a Mel, I actually don't know what necessarily counters a Mel. I feel like most of the time we just see things that outscale or just kind of play around the Mel in lane and then have more impact later on.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it isn't about an answer. It's just something that can exist into it. You've got, some liberty here, right? And she's obviously a strong laner. Obviously, the rebuke, and you see Mel into Ashe Seraphine a lot for obvious reasons. Now you have Sante, so good front line, good peel to go along with the Aatrox, who's going to be that bruiser, that big body. I still want to see a little bit more. Okay, this could work, actually.
VKS?
Yeah.
I think Syndra's a little bit scary into Mel. Not gonna lie. Seen some interesting things happen to that.
Yeah, I guess the Syndra I was thinking more into the team with the team composition, because I want to give Mel as many things to think about pressing W on. You know what I mean?
Agreed. You know what? And we have then.
And we got Xerath.
That's actually locked. I thought it was just a hover. Has Miru ever played Xerath? When was the last time we saw Xerath in CBLOL? I feel like it was
Tinones?
Oh no, yeah, okay, he did play a mid. So yeah.
It was like 2020. Right. But Xerath was like a thing that time, right? It was another one of the finals where Loud beat Pain. But Tinones kind of styled on him with that Xerath.
Yeah, that is true. It's a very niche pick, and into the Mel, I kind of like it.
Wow, we got Vayne. Here we go.
That was not okay. So here's the problem: we wanted to see good setup for Los Grandes. We do not see good setup from Los Grandes. Like, the top lane, I was thinking Ambessa, yeah, potentially. Because that's usually what we see kind of played into the Cassante. You lose early, you win later on. But it would not have been a good pick because it's not set up either. And it's at least got a bit of survivability, so it can be a threat. Vayne is kind of like the extreme of that, where you're going, forget survivability. We just want to straight out win the lane. But when's the last time you saw Vayne be a good team fighter? Especially when she's not an AD carry with a team built around her. There's no protection for these AD carries here. It's every man for themselves. And let's not forget, those Grandes chose second pick. They chose to get this counter pick. And their counter pick is a Vayne.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, look, and Vayne top has been a thing in 2026, right? We've seen it into a couple of these tanks. We've seen it into, a couple of, range versus melee matchups. Into the Cassante, I haven't seen it. So, we'll see here, right? But what I have seen with Vayne is, unfortunately, a lot of this, where it's in a composition that's just like a wallet diff comp or a damage overload comp, where there isn't enough, setup, or more crucially, like you said, RMC, protection, right? We see things like the Vayne in Protect the President comps, right? In just more traditional, we have to keep this Vayne alive at all costs, where you play a bruiser in the jungle, a tank up top, an engage/peel support, and then, and a control mage in the mid lane, right? But again, it's going to be Los Grandes just trying to outhand you in the early game. They could do that. Shoot. Zest could pick up a couple solo kills, right? It's not about that. It's about how this is going to go in the late game.
And once again, the lane matchup. So, before you mentioned you're not that familiar with the Vayne into Cassante, well, it is very good. Generally speaking, you pick hyperscalers into Cassante because while he can punish you early, he does tend to fall off a little bit in the mid game. Vayne, notoriously one of the most punishing top laners. Ranged top laners in general are pretty disgusting, but with her mobility and her ability to condemn as well, she's very, very good at spacing, so it's hard to get on top of her. As you can see, running Exhaust, usually you run a combat summoner so that worst comes to worst, even if they have a gap closer, if they have to burn their ultimate to get any sort of kill threat, you exhaust them, turn the fight, and win anyway. So I'm expecting Zest to dominate that lane. In the mid lane, I am expecting Feisty to still win it and get lane prio. Likely we'll just see Miru very low interaction, just try and wave clear as much as possible, but Xerath's wave clear initially before he gets to an item or two. I kind of pick Mel side in terms of just being able to push a little bit faster. Bot side to me should be equal, if not winning for CO and Kaiwing. So if Los is looking to kind of get a hit, it's kind of all in on the top lane. You have to get Zest to a point where he's drawing multiple members in and forcing Cade to tunnel vision on that top side, and or just hemorrhage and completely bleed out on that top lane. If Zest can't do that, if it ends up even being vaguely equal, DKs are going to have a much better mid lane.
Yeah, their team fight is just a lot better. I mean, as we saw compositionally, but also as we saw last game, they seem to, Desamis seems to have a good hold on where to puppet master everybody and how to be, when to cycle out certain abilities, right? Target selection. We saw that on display. I say all this not because I'm listening on the comms. I say that because we saw it with our own two eyes in game one. So I have a lot more faith in them as the game goes on. And again, it's Los Grandes running into similar problems where it's up until 15 minutes, they can go to toe-to-toe with literally anybody. And they have proven that in best of ones and all that. This has never been the problem for Cade. It's been how do you transition that? How do you shot call as the game goes on? And how do you just execute successfully in team fights? Because even like their setup wasn't like terrible sometimes, right? They got themselves into some good looks. I mean, shoot, that last Baron play in game 1, right? They got into some pretty good looks. VKS walked away from the Baron, and Los Grandes stared at them.
Well, lost vision of them and then decided that we're just gonna go home. Like it's like no object permanence, broke eye contact, and just forgot they were there.
Yeah, and just
obviously,
like, oh,
there was a lot more to it. Yeah, I mean, obviously there was a lot more to it about why they backed and everything. It was just really odd choice for it to happen, and that just raises a lot of questions about what's the shot calling from Los Grandes. Like, was that the right call? Evidently not, and it did ultimately cost them the game. We do see Miru for now actually successfully pushing Feisty in, managing to land a lot of that Q poke, actually a lot of the W poke as well, which I think has been what's been setting up for this. Zera's passive does give him a bit more mana, so the emptiness of his mana is a little bit big. This is still going to go back. I suspect we're going to see an early tier pickup to continue getting sustained, be able to match, and it might just come down to Drake Hero intervening in the lanes. Ooh, he does not get a tier. He went for Sapphire Crystal and Raptome.
So, might just be, I mean, is that Luden's? Is Luden's still out of Crystal?
Yeah, I think there's a, because it builds into the
Lost chapter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, oh boy. Wall goes up. He's got to go the long way around because the trap was thrown down by Dudu very nicely right behind the wall, so can't go around it immediately. Ackerman almost pays for it with his life, though. Highwing.
Yeah.
Throw down the Q. And the B drop as well. Yeah, CEO playing with fire a little bit, right? It's still a Caitlyn, right? With one headshot auto, you still go bye-bye, but has evaded the pressure for now.
Yeah, and the thing was, the moment Kyvan comes back as well, he's got shields and he's got Summoner Heal. So Duda and Ackerman are the ones who actually have to be kind of careful the moment Kaiwing shows back up the lane. And CEO able to just pick that one up. They're going to be able to get a safe recall off. Ooh, we're playing with fire here. Like, Kaiwing doesn't know you're there, but yeah, Duda doesn't win this fight early on. I'm sorry to say. Like, supports are actually stronger than AD carries in trades in the early couple of levels. Like, they
especially these mages, right? I mean, Kaiwing has a lot of tools in his belt, man.
I don't like that call from Duda. Like, you could have just recalled and then left Ackerman to hold that wait for you to come back out, and then you'd be able to match items. As it stands though, now CEO is coming back with Berserker's Greaves, and that's particularly terrifying with an Ashe because she will run you down the entire lane.
Just like this. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Now 3 flashes burned here. Ackerman gonna go into egg form. It's just a matter of do they get that past him or not. You got target selection issues here as Dudu gonna pop the cleanse as the double beat drop comes out as well. Desamis showing up. They chew through the bird. They chew through the egg. Desamis almost able to get it onto Dudu, and he might actually go down here. Drake Hero shows up. Right place, right time to give the kill over to Dudu. Oh, hold on. Zerathol.
Looking for snipe. He doesn't have an advantage.
Oh, comment!
The comment! I take that back. I was wrong.
Miru from downtown, from Argentina, rips one into Dudu.
I was like, yeah, base damage isn't enough. I forgot to take into account the comment, but absolutely huge for Miru to be able to snipe that one from the mid lane, and that's one of the reasons why people play Xerath. He barely left lane. He didn't even really miss CS, maybe like 1 or 2 to make that happen.
I think he literally did not leave lane.
He had to leave it a little bit like past the river, but yeah, effectively he didn't. He had to leave far enough that Feisty wouldn't have messed him up.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
Yeah, and that bot side again, that's why the Zerker's Greaves was huge. Exhaust into Wiser.
Now here's where we find out what you're made of. Come on, Zest, couple more autos should do it. Flashing away from the Q3. Finally got it. Zest with solo kill number 1.
As kind of expected. Now summers were blown. Flash gone from Zest as well as Exhaust. I'd love to see Desamis or Miru make a trip up to the top lane, try and find something on that flash list in vain. Bot lane's 2v3 right now, just trying to stop Draco from stealing all of that away, but it does put Ackerman into the very far behind the turret. The minion wave is about to expire as well. They need to leave now.
Yeah, they do have a numbers advantage here. Got the wave in a pretty good spot, do CEO and Kaiwing, all things considered. Yeah, if they can just leave this right here, maybe maintain the freeze, but yeah, should be okay regardless. Yeah, Drake Hero opted not to go into that. He does have level 6. But that's kind of it here. Yeah, 1 kill trade. So 1 kill on either side here. And Dudu, I mean, God, did he need that, right? Because like you said, took a bit of a greedy non-recall, but now Caitlyn back with a BF sword. That feels just night and day better. CEO caught on the other side of a wall. Has to pop the cleanse as well. Ackerman trying to get forward. Throw something onto him. Will not be able to. Piltover Peacemaker almost found him.
Yeah, beautiful wall placement from Ackerman. I do think that CEO perhaps not fully respecting that. Oh,
hold on. We've got another Xerath ult and another kill onto Dudu. And Kaiwing and CEO get away with a combined 100 health. I mean, probably less than that. BKS on the margins out in front here in this one.
You know what? This to me just shows me that Cade Stars, they have a good support staff. Right? They are properly preying on the tendencies of Los Grandes. They know that Dida and Ackerman play very aggressively, very greedily. And so allowing Mirror to just constantly kind of roam down a little bit, get that little bit of help, is kind of swing that bot side. Now, it does come at a cost. That time, Mario was not in lane when he did that. Did actually drop a wave to make that happen. He was coming out of base. So Feisty is accruing a bit of a lead, and we've seen this from Los Grandes before. The solo laners, Zest the one who usually kind of pops off, but Feisty's quietly very good himself at accruing lane leads, and it's the mid game where Feisty tends to come online. These early skirmishes for that's going to be the real test for Los Grandes. Can they swing their wallets properly? Will Feisty come along? Because I'm not expecting Zest to be a factor early on.
No, that's not why you. Well, I was going to say that's not why you draft the Vayne, but you do draft it for this matchup, so it is technically early on. But your point is well taken, right? That's not why you draft the Vayne as far as the team fights are concerned. But again, the questions still remain for Los Grandes. Not just the ones that were thrown up in game one, but again, compositionally, I've seen Vayne in a couple of these types of compositions where you don't really have a tank. You just kind of have a bruiser and a little bit of CC and a hope and a prayer and, faith, trust, and pixie dust. And usually it doesn't actually work out that well.
Yeah, and the early game lead hasn't even been that much in Zest's favor. Yes, he got the early kill, but Weiser, I mean, he's the rock for a reason, right? Like, he's still only down about a wave right now, 9 minutes in, which is not bad considering that he actually started about a wave and a half down on the very first 2 waves, which is perfectly normal. We do see objectives being traded. Sam is picking up the early grubs, and it's going to be first Drake going over the way of Drake Hero down here. That constant pressure Duda and Ackerman are putting down is kind of panning off. I don't know, though, if it's worth kind of leaving that top lane alone. Like, Zest's lead could be bigger if there was jungle intervention.
Yeah. Dudu. Wipe away pop the cleanse here. Drake Hero gets into the mid lane, gets onto Miru. That's Xerath. He is not very mobile.
Nope, and that's why Miru's been very careful when he uses that right off the arcane every time he wants to use the ultimate, is to make sure he's in a safe position before he does so. One thing to note, he didn't burn flash. He was trying to get in position to flash over the wall to safety, but opted not to do it. The flash ult.
That is a flash ult. Meanwhile, Dudu going to flash into the brush, getting decent damage down before he inevitably goes down. Ackerman trying to get a kill onto CEO. Bunny goes into egg form, and that'll be another 2v2 kill for this Cade Stars bot lane.
Yep. And you're seeing why Ashe used to be a counter to Caitlyn. You're matching poke with your volley into the Piltover Peacemaker and just the auto attack range. And when you hit level 6, the kill threat is just there. Every support pretty much has some sort of follow-up to the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. And unfortunately for Dida, he burnt his cleanse earlier before that sequence started. We get to see a replay of the gank into mid lane. It's just that easy. You can see Miri walking towards the wall a little bit with flash, but couldn't quite find the angle, didn't want to waste it. This bot side is just that much scarier. And the fact that Kaiwing is the one to kick it off, it wasn't even, it was just flash ult into the series of plays. Because earlier, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow was used, and that burnt the cleanse away from Dida last time. And by the way, Dida actually cleansed too early and didn't cleanse the stun properly the first time. So didn't have it available. Is punished once again. Bot lane continues to be fairly equal. I know it says gold lead towards CEO and Kaiwing there, but realistically with the CS advantage, like, it's not that far off. It's pretty much dead right.
Now, that was an ult flash by Kaiwing, right? Did he start charging up the Encore?
I think so.
And then flash? Okay. All right. And we'll put that in my notebook. I didn't know you could do that, to be honest. I had another point I was going to make. Oh, yeah, kind of random. Can Mel rebuke right of the arcane? Is it considered a projectile?
I believe the ult is a projectile, but the Q poke is not. So that's one of the reasons. The Q and W are not, if I recall.
Okay, so then where does it get bounced back to?
Ooh, good question, actually. I don't know. I've not seen it.
I would like to find out.
Not seen it before, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it does happen this game. Unfortunately for now, all the rights of the arcades have been just unloaded to Dida.
Yeah.
Every time it's in the bot lane.
Yeah, that's your artillery mage. Yeah, just firing at you from across the map. Drake Hero getting around to Desamus, and now he's got the CC onto Kaiwing. Q not going to land onto the intended target anyway. Desamus in some trouble. Maybe it was the intended target, but going to Umbral Dash to safety. CEO, he's got to be careful here. The slow goes down from the Glacial Storm, trying to get decent damage down on the other side before he goes down. Thumbs up from Ackerman. Yeah, they will get a kill. It's just a matter of what VKS get on the back end, but should be all right here.
Finally, some love from the rest of Los Grandes into this bot lane, which was picked to be a strong, impressive lane, and hasn't panned out, but this time finally converts to picking up a kill, and will finally swing the gold back in Los Grandes' favor. 12.5 minutes in, 4-4, and a bit of a lead coming through from Los Grandes, but I'm thinking back to game 1, and the sort of leads we were seeing come through, and I'm getting a little bit concerned for Los. They're not finding quite the angles that like. The Samus getting caught here and kind of baiting Kaiwing into it as well. The initial pick is good, but this wall from Ackerman right here, he's been doing this time and time again. Like I said, the placement of his wall from Ackerman is huge. And that's really what decides whether Anivia is a good or a bad player. It's not landing the stun. That's pretty linear. It's more about wall placement and are you able to cut people off or angle them into the stun a lot. And Ackerman's been able to do that beautifully.
If nothing else, I mean, it feels like the variance of value on a wall could be so high, right? It is just, and that's part of why you play as champion, right? It's like the follow-up, right, is going to be there. Assuming the follow-up is there, right? But it doesn't do any damage, but it can just reroute you so easily, obviously, and you don't need any sort of resources to do it. You can still be useful. It's part of what always has made this champion, never awful, I will say. Maybe she probably at one point was awful, but the point is the wall is extremely high value ability. RMC. Look it up here. Everybody else on Los Grandes has a lead over their opposite number here. And they've got the first dragon as well. Grub's traded on the back end, but everyone's hitting their role quest first. Encore, not going to find its mark. Side. Ooh, Zest. Man, doing prime Uzi impression here. He might 1v2 this. That's not out of the question. Now, hang on a second here. Zest. Yo, Zest, chill, dude. Oh, my goodness.
Matt, CEO at this point is not a carry. CEO is secondary support. Kaiwing supports CEO supports Miru. Like, just constantly setting up for Miru to snipe all of these with the Rise of the Arcane. But yeah, that's why you see Vayne being picked, especially in the top lane. Because in the bot lane, it's a 2v2, and it's a bit harder for Vayne. Yep. But in a 1v1 situation, yeah, she absolutely rips. And that 1v2 Zest breaking ankles, it took a 1v3 to take him down.
That was something else, man. My goodness. Using everything. I mean, the flash got a dodge, the sidestep dodge, the encore, and the Enchanter Crystal Arrow. Just tumbling all over the place. I mean, let's get another look at here, right? I mean, he only gets hit by the one beat drop. Encore, sidestep, Enchanter Crystal Arrow, side. Oh my god.
So disgusting how quickly Tumble comes off, go down. And
yeah.
Right there, CEO kind of knew he was dead to right, so he just always did that. He's not getting out, but yeah, it got super close. Man, one more bolt, maybe Kaiwing goes down.
Are you actually in an Anivia main?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oro and I play a lot of Anivia. Oro's actually also a Xerath main.
My goat.
So, yeah.
I love me some
we've said
Xerath,
this
man.
before. Like, we have
weirdly
high amounts of Anivia players in CBLOL English.
That is weird. Yeah. Great. No, love that champion, man. I'm a big fan. Always have been.
Yeah. Like, I actually, so you Emax, and I actually put 2 points into my W before I start putting points into my, before I put a second point into myself. Like,
interesting.
Because wall at level 3 basically controls. Like, they can get around it, but you can force some really weird pathing, and you can cut off most of it. At 5, you just cut off the entire lane. You do it with a cleanse to make sure you just go down.
Another Rite of the Arcane. Dudu going to get hit by 2 charges of it. Thomas forward with the Infernal Chains. Got the Q1 down. Pop the World Ender as well. Aside from that, not going to get much else. Los Grandes 2 dragons now. Ace in the hole is just going to tickle the Thomas. Yeah, that was never going to do much.
Yeah, Los, though, while all this is happening, they've still got Zest in the picture-in-picture, just pushing on that bot side fairly safely. They already took the early turret. They have a Caitlyn on their team, so that is the right goal. And then from there, they're fine. Ackerman being hit by the Encore, but I don't know if CEO and Kaiwing have more in the tank. Like,
yeah,
kind of out of mana at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you kind of start to see. Hold on, Mirror's just toast here. All right, Los Grandes.
Los is doing those things. They're getting their wallets, they're getting their leads, and they're swinging it hard. And right now, VKS feel like they don't have a great answer, unfortunately, because they have so many squishies, and their main tank, Weiser, is locked into a little bit of hell with Zest. They don't have another option. Like, Miru can't be the one to handle Zest 1v1. He'd get run down in the amount of time it takes you to blink. You'd be dead against Zest. So it has to be Weiser doing it. But without any tanks anywhere, it feels like not a lot of safety for VKS. They're diveable on multiple lanes, and literally Feisty is almost solo diving. Like, that turret was still standing when this play happened. Or initiated.
Yeah, and Feisty played that very well. I mean, this champ does a lot of damage still, obviously. You can see, I mean, yeah, just from the turret plates, the amount of work that Los Grandes has done. Now, you got to give them credit here. I mean, they've accrued 1,500 worth of gold just off plating.
I suspect more than 1,500 because if we look at the kill lead, it's kind of the same. So I suspect most of it's actually, even the CS, there are, okay, now part of it is from CS, but the bulk of it definitely from those plates. CEO able to dodge out on the stuns for now, but Feisty now joining up the team wasn't that effective into the Xerath, but it's doing a lot against the Seraphine.
Now the Red of the Arcane can rip that from far away. Doo-doo. Yeah, and he is just targeting him, saying, all right, you don't get to play right now. So I'm just going to wipe away that ward. Yeah, still haven't seen the straight-up 5v5. Right, with both these teams, haven't seen the big potential Zest pop-off. Experimental Hex Plate, and then a Sheen item for the Vayne. Interesting.
Yeah, so you want a little bit of tankiness to buy time for your Tumble to come back up again, and having the final hour kind of be on cooldown is very, very useful. Where is the Samus going with this? What? Okay, we use it as a getaway car. I don't know if that Herald's going to crash. Shelly, unfortunately, might just get killed before she
No, I think that was just incredibly bad. I think DeSamus wanted to send it into the bottom lane, but for whatever reason didn't do it through River.
Oh, dear.
If you're going to right-click as a getaway car, dude, yeah, that was not a... Oh, my goodness. Feisty. The solo bolo. Onto Miru. Now the tower's down. Now things get really interesting here. Walling off the rest of the team as Los Grandes look to get onto the Encore by DeSamus. Just enough time. He's able to get away, flashing over the wall.
That summoner heal from Kaimu was clutch to get DeSamus out there. 44, this is still very bad news bears for BKS, though. They were kind of grouped up, and they're starting to lose control of the map very, very badly. They want... The VKS team is the one that wants a structured fight, front to back, where you're buying space for Miru, you're buying space for CEO. But the fact that Los is what they specialize in, chaos and just pressure. When they've got a lead, they know how to use it. And right there, you can see Feisty's taking over the jungle. They're catching people in rotation. DeSamus tries to come down from top. He gets punched. Miru tries to transition from bot lane. He gets taken out. And for VKS, if you have to take the long way into all your lanes, you're just going to be later on a lot of these plays. That gold lead is just going to keep on ballooning. Now, in game one, they did come back in through some very interesting, shall we say, catches to come through. Great vision control and choke and pick. This game, their pick potential is not quite as strong.
They still got some tools.
Me too. And I'm kind of looking at the tools right now. It's kind of the Enchanted Crystal Arrow I feel like they're going to do. Because DeSamus isn't tanky enough to just hide in a bush and, you know, be that pick tool.
No, but
he's getting a lot of things reflected.
But Weiser is.
Oh,
He is tanky enough, and he could just all out someone into a compromising position.
Sure. If Weiser could actually join the fight.
Yes. Which again,
One day he will.
Yeah, we're calling for that big 5v5. Yeah, Weiser, I mean, look, Cassante, he was meta for so long for many reasons, but, I mean, he can be just such a disruptor in the backline. You always have to think about him, and, my God, Feisty. A lot of damage, man.
Okay, so Mel, it looks like Xerath is completely not a counter to Mel from what you're seeing in that 1v1, but it's worth noting Feisty's actually 2 levels up. Miru did drop a lot of CS, or not a lot, but he did drop a significant amount of CS on C roaming out to snipe those kills on the sidelines. So, yeah, it's just kind of right now the power trough that K-Stars needs to play through. One thing I did want to highlight too was that wall from Ackerman that kind of caught CO between the wall and the wall, rock and hard place, and he literally couldn't move. That is disgusting from Ackerman. If you're really good, you're able to do that consistently. I definitely can't, and I'm interested to see if Ackerman really is that good because this is his first Anivia this year.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's a good shout. Ackerman all of a sudden, yeah, getting a lot of value out of the Rod of Ages as well, right? I mean, what a great value support item to give you that extra tankiness. Scales really nicely. 50 boots as well. Interesting.
Yeah, you just want the mobility. You're not really about the damage, right? So you're just trying to get around places, position a little bit better, and make sure you don't get caught. Because Anivia is really bad pace.
A little bit of vision on a Baron. Yeah, not going to try anything right now. 3 dragons, basically uncontested for Los Grandes. Now in 3 minutes, they've got Infernal Soul on the table. Obviously not a mandate to get it down on spawn here, but Cade, they've got something to fight for in 3 minutes. Los Grandes certainly look better positioned. I mean, they are just, Feisty, it's like the 3rd time he's done this to Miru. Los Grandes playing much more on the front foot in the mid game than we saw in game 1.
They just have advantages in every single lane, and there's not good matchups. Oh, Kaiwing having to flash to just stay alive. And cross map arrow?
How did he hit that? That was money. There goes the all-out, just stunned through all of it. But now with the condemned, Zest might be able to get away here. Final hour plus a tumble. He will be all right.
That's why the experimental X-Blade is so good on the Vayne in the 1v1s, right? You just get that additional movement speed all the time. I don't know why you're dancing to Samus. Bro, you're not in a great state. Your team's not in a great state. And one thing we should highlight is how Losa played the map. Right? I don't know how much of it's intentional or just how much is just inherent in their playstyle.
Oh, this could be gorgeous. Yeah, Weiser has no idea. Oh, I don't know why you don't start off with the condemn there. Just trap him into the wall, give Drake Hero some time to get over there, but gets the knockup. Now Weiser going to try to go back in. Should be toast here. Exhaust comes down as well. Trying to get onto Zest. Pops the all-out as well. The unstoppable will not be enough to stop him from the gray screen. It all worked out. Zest grabbing himself an assist, giving that kill over Drake Hero.
Oh, they missed the point blank on Ackerman out of
That's
push.
tough.
Okay, that's painful.
Skater falling apart.
Oh, great flash from CO to be able to dodge out on the stun portion. The wall actually kind of working against those Grandes there. They were trying to stop CO from flashing backwards, but I think that was fine. The whole team was collapsing in. Probably put the wrong way, did it?
Oh, man, he's got to be careful. Need a couple more charges of that right of the arcane. Now joining the fight here. There's the encore. He gets a couple, but popped immediately. Very nicely. That Grim Deliverance, I think, to immune the encore, but either way, able to close the gap. Dudu finally goes down. As CEO went down at around the same mark here. Still no dragon or anything going to be taken here. Not quite enough. Feisty. Throw something down here, but encountered 3 members of VKS. Now Ackerman and Drake Hero joining the party. Zest going to get there as well. Rebuke comes out, finds nothing. There goes the damage onto Miru. The Immobile Mage taken down once again, but Weiser coming up maybe just at the right time here. CC down as well. Feisty getting really good damage down. Samus taken completely out of the fight. Weiser taken out. Los Grandes on fire, and they get back to where they were in game 1. A 10,000 gold lead and a Baron.
Surely we can't cast a curse this forever. Surely there's no way Los can lose in this position, right?
I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
10 minutes. 10 minutes. We won't be here in 10 minutes.
Nope, I'm not going to say it again. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. You can't get fooled again.
I don't know. I'm just looking at this composition from VKS, and it's just feeling really, really tough. So one of the things we're talking about was the map play from Los Grandes. The fact that they have threat on every single lane, and VKS don't have a safe place to park any of their carries right now. This Samus as well is so squishy that he can't really do anything. Like, Weiser's the only one who can barely hold a lane, and let's be honest, he's not holding the lane, he's just slowing down the push.
Yes.
We've already seen that Zest can more than handle him in a 1v1, even with the Ash Arrow from across the map landing, maximum stun time. Weiser still doesn't have that kill threat anytime Exhaust is up, and Exhaust will be coming back up shortly enough. Now, Infernal Soul on the table, as if Los Grandes needed more damage in a comp which already has so many kills.
Yeah. Oh, Feisty with a gorgeous rebuke to get it right back onto CEO. Los Grandes certainly playing with their hair on fire in game 2. Down an AD carry and now going for the Infernal Soul. Cade going to have a rough time contesting this. I mean, unless you go for the Hail Mary play from DeSamus over the wall, but Ackerman doing a great job of playing bodyguard in this one. Got the Oblivion Orb as well into this composition. Based my Anivia King right now. Gets the CC down. Zest going to pop everything here. There's that experimental Hexblade speed up you were talking about. Ackerman deserves the kill. Give him just one.
Yeah, and again, wall placement, trying to force them into the corner. If you use a slanted wall in the pathing in-game, if you just use auto pathing, it's going to put you in a bad position. Oh my goodness.
My goodness. That is a lot of damage.
It is. And for Cade, they are lacking damage at this point. Actually, no, CEO and Miru are still alive, and that's their primary damage members or primary carries, but they can't step up. And you can see that for CEO, for the bulk of this game, unfortunately, has been a support. Like, I joked about him being the support to Miru, but he has literally been relegated to support right now. He's not been able to step up in fights. Duda is just going to fire that, and CEO loses a third of his health, just like that.
Los Grandes now with what should be an unthrowable lead, a 14,000 gold lead in this one. I don't think I have even seen a 14,000 gold lead thrown. I've seen 13, like you mentioned. I've seen 10 as recently as a minute ago. But look at Feisty with this rebuke, dude.
Yeah.
Man.
And that's why Mel into Ash Seraphine. There's so many good things you can just push back. And sure, the laning was rough for Feisty, but Feisty's always been really good at just quietly accruing leads in lanes. And like we said, it was more about the mid-game where Feisty comes online, and he's been money with those rebukes. This year, though, as an Anivia main, that wall, the pathing,
Yeah.
It's so good. And Desamis, yeah, there's not enough angle to get out. And with the terrain everywhere around him as well, the condemn is just so easy for Cess.
Doo-doo.
What did Duda do to piss Miru off?
Yeah. So, I don't know. Something happened off screen, clearly. Because he's just doing everything to make Duda's life as miserable as possible. And look, fair enough. You take an 80 carry out of a fight. That's never a bad thing. That's you gladly trade an ultimate for that. But, man, oh, man. And Drake Hero. I mean, to talk about that last fight a little bit, I put that on CEO. You cannot, I don't care how, that wasn't even point blank. You cannot just enchant a Crystal Arrow a Mel, right? Because Mel at Ash Seraphine, like you said, it's a great answer. But what I also talked about in the draft, you need to give Mel more than one thing to think about, right? There, she had only one thing to think about.
Yeah, and on top of that, too, I think that's one thing that Cubby's mentioned over on the NACL broadcast before is that with Ash, you can get some creative angles. If you can fire out of Fog of War and and not did it bear me, but Ice doesn't see it coming, you can find it. Why does it just get shut down? Jeez,
That is
that's
a
tank.
that's like Kasante, by the way, but with only 2 items. Look at that. He's down 5,000 gold.
Yep.
That ain't right, man. He's on 2 items at 28 minutes? Bro, the supports have more items than you. What are we doing?
And that bad for him. Like, he was doing really well into Zest. It was kind of after the laning
no,
phase.
he was holding the lane well.
Yeah, ironically, that's when usually the Vayne stops having impact. But instead, it's when Zest kind of just accelerated the game, and Weiser just got called by his team and said, hey, guy, we need you. We need you as a tank. And he stops getting gold. He stops getting CS, and he just starts to fall further and further behind. Those Grandes really playing to their comfort. So, for as much as we questioned their choices in draft, as much as we questioned their choice to get counterpick, we can't question the result. Those Grandes play the style they wanted. VKS got run over. They just did not feel like they had any way of stopping those Grandes War Machine.
No, that time they certainly did not. Say what you want about game 1, and they're going to remember that a long, long time, especially if they lose game 3. But history tends to be written by the victors, and if Los Grandes win this series, a lot fewer people are going to remember that game. So let me take it to a quick break. I'm going to get some water, and yeah, we'll be right back to see if Los Grandes can finish the job after a dominant game 2.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of the world that we defy. A solo ride of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here. Los Grandes versus Cade Stars, game number 3. In both those games, Los Grandes got out to a 10K plus gold lead. And in one of them, they actually closed them out. And RMC, I have to say, for all of my malding about Los Grandes, that was really, really sweet to watch. That was very impressive. They played that game front to back, really no issues.
And you know what? Or maybe it's just that the opposite of love is hate. So, you know, or I guess the opposite of love is apathy, not hate. You hate them, so you can be convinced to love them. Maybe you'll come to love them. On the other hand, I am feeling, I don't know, some sort of way about Cade here. I don't know if I'm feeling upset. I don't know if I'm feeling...
Are you feeling apathetic?
A little bit, yeah. Or more than just a little bit.
Are you just over it? Because that's kind of what I'm detecting, is like, it doesn't matter. They're not going to win anything. I just, like, call me when literally anybody else plays. That's what I'm detecting a little bit from you.
Okay, not quite as bad as call me when anybody else plays, but I'm having problems watching this VKS crew, and they are just so inconsistent. It's wild to me. This is the most inconsistent we've seen them since CL has joined the organization. Yeah. And I think back to like what we saw just on Sunday, and they looked like they're getting their act together. Miru was starting to show up, and then the game 1 where they just had no early lane phase, like all their lanes were kind of falling apart. They were 10k down, and then somehow Jasamis grabs hold of the reins, gets everybody to come together. Kaiwing manages to stop engage after engage, and they look like, okay, we had a trash early game, but we have the miracle factor that Loud had in the CBLOL Cup. We know we have a chance. They come to game 3, Mirror disappears again. CO disappears again. It's like, hello? What is going on here with BKS?
Now, we talked a little bit about it off screen. How much of that do you put onto draft? Because, you know, we were joking like, oh, well, yeah, they had Xerath and Ashe. Like, how much could you really do, right? So again, I'll throw that back to you. Like, are we, you know, could we write that off as just, well, you drafted a bit of a no damage comp?
A little bit, but the problem is that I could see the angles for that composition to theoretically work. They didn't fall behind that badly, and if they had ways to come back in. So the draft didn't do them any favors, but I don't think it was a draft issue in and of itself that resulted in that loss. I mean, if I'm looking at the drafts, I didn't really like Los Grandes' draft very much either.
That's fair. That's fair.
Arguably, I liked it less, but Los... It's a comp that fits, it's champions that fit their style. And they're not necessarily a team fight composition or team fight style in the first place organization. They're just all about the individual plays, and they pick champions to fit that style. Whereas with VKS right now, I don't know, like their drafting to me feels better than Los, not significantly so, but it's more about execution and just who's showing up on the day. You see the players there, they're all physically there, they're communicating. I'm seeing a lot of shaking of heads coming through from Kaiwing and Miru here, which does not bode well for the team, but you know, I don't know, man. We're seeing the Karma continue to be banned out for now. Ashe, Seraphine, they've already been played, so that kind of opens up the bans a little bit. Bard this time coming through from Los, which is interesting to me, because I guess Kaiwing is known as a Bard player internationally, but hasn't actually touched it this point.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I guess as you get deeper into Fearless to say, look, I don't want anybody to play this, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, the champ is, I mean, I've seen Bard in the hands, this split of players who I never knew as Bard players. All of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, it's just strong enough, I guess. Jace blind.
Was that the communication? Like, they couldn't believe the call.
It's, I want to play Jace. No. Absolutely do not play Jace. And then they leave it to CL, and CL says, play Jace. I guess. That we're kind of joking. Ugh.
I'm kind of curious, because, no offense to Weiser, but he's been in Brazil a long time. Like, we joke about Brazilian Jace and Korean Jace. Unfortunately, Weiser fell on the side of Brazil Jace.
I was going to say, he is neither. He is both. He is,
He's been more Brazilian, I feel like, than Korean when it comes to the Jace play, unfortunately. So, is that Jace in the jungle? That got nerfed pretty heavily, so I don't see the Samus taking it. It almost feels like it's going to be Miru. Was to pilot that line into whatever fresh hell Los wanted to whip out. Los actually opting for what I feel like is the more meta pick in this case. They went for the Yunara Lulu, which is a strong combo. We've seen Sivir be one of the answers into this. Aphelios for CEO. Okay, it is a champion. He has his...
Yeah. I mean, I'd be mega down for that. If we're gonna play the Yunara Lulu, just play another scaling matchup. I'm okay with kind of taking a break from the bot lane this game, especially if we get Jace in one of the lanes. Like, you can kind of fight scaling with scaling.
Milio, I think one is range and mobility. We can ignore the lack of mobility until we start seeing threats come from Los Grandes. But extending an Aphelios range could be huge. So I like the idea. am not sold about the synergy in lane between those two.
Yeah.
Into a Yunara Lulu, I guess, though, you're not as worried about that.
Yeah, I guess as long as it doesn't go catastrophically wrong, right? Then I think you're all right. Now the Ambessa comes in, and again into a Milio, excuse me. I guess you're not getting like a ton of like, like it's not like you can't. Can you cleanse the public execution? You can't because it's a knockup, right?
Yeah, no, not exactly. Unfortunately, the way the animation works for knockup is weird. There's technically a stun component to most knockups as well, where it shaves off like half a second for knockup animation. So sure, you can shave that half a second off, but I think the bigger threat of public execution for CEO here and for the Philios is more that you've got an Ambessa on you now.
Yep.
So you're probably not surviving that. Speaking of which, Ambessa coming through, being picked by Los Grandes. Again, a potential flex between jungle and top lane, but I'm kind of liking it in the top lane right now. Renekton, if we see a Renekton ban come through, there's not a lot of risk. If they leave Renekton up, it means Los is thinking about doing the flex.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if she was in the jungle. I mean, how is it in a Jace? These are questions you could ask, right? But again, the Jace you could flex, I guess technically 3 different ways. So all to play for here as the draft shakes out. Does the Twisted Fate ban inform any decision you think, or because I'm a little kind of surprised by that?
Yeah, it tells me that Los is thinking that's a Jace top, and perhaps Wiser's been practicing Jace in solo queue or something, like, or they have some information I don't have. But historically, Jace has not been a Wiser. So okay, that's a very interesting thought process on Los Grandes. Malphite now being banned away. For those of y'all who might not have been keeping up competitive recently, Malphite is now a jungle champion. So it's not so much for the top lane.
Yes.
It's just for the ease of engage that should come through from Los Grandes. That center is not going to get locked in. They've already picked the bot lane. So they're just thinking it should be mid jungle that they're looking for, potentially mid top, depending on the Ambessa. I think you just pick a mid here. Leave the Ambessa as a potential flex.
Yeah. All right. Whoa. And we're going to get Zoe. Now that's exciting. Feisty, you see the big stats, 0-3 in general, across the CBLOL this split. But Zoe in here, I mean, okay, you certainly have enough damage, RMC.
Yeah. More importantly, there's no tank on VKS side yet. Now, the cleanse from Milio will be good against the CP Trouble Bubble.
Yeah, true.
For basic ability. CP Trouble Bubble has a fairly long cooldown for a basic ability. They're still spamming 2 or 3 every cleanse. That's not a tank for VKS with the Lee Sin into the jungle. You went quite spicy with that one. Into the Zoe, though. Well, mid-jungle. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be very, very interesting. Yeah, first Lee Sin of the quarter. Or of the quarter, of the split. We'll see what gets played into this one. I mean, I don't hate it. I kind of just want to see more tanks for both of these teams. It would make me just a lot happier.
Yeah, Galio is as tanky as you get in the mid lane, I guess. So it is going to be Wiser's Jace in the top side into Ambessa. That's actually quite a bit of a rough lane for Jace after the first couple of levels, or once Ambessa gets first item. Before that, Jace blows out with range. But yeah, I guess you needed some sort of tank to deal with Zoe's potential pick off, and that is a magic resistance tank, which is the big issue. It'll do decently into Yunara as well, though her consistent chip damage will eventually just rip.
Waiting on that last pick. Never believe the pike hover with Ackerman. That's something he specifically does, for those that don't know. And it'll be Yorick instead. So it'll be Yorick in the top lane. All right, so how do you reframe the matchup, Jason to Warwick? Into Yorick, excuse me.
It's worse for Jace. Yorick is actually a Jace abuser. So basically, the idea is, okay, you've got range into melee, but with the ghouls, if he ever lands his, the name of the ability, but the one where he six his ghouls onto you, if he six them, Jace just loses that trade when that happens. And as the game goes on, it kind of gets worse, because the damage for Yorick is too high for Jace to handle the split push. Also, the ghouls will absorb shock blasts later on in the face-off situations, so it gets even tougher. More interesting to me is actually going to be Ambessa Lee Sin matchup, because I haven't seen that matchup since Lee Sin has not been meta when Ambessa went into the jungle. So on paper, I feel like Ambessa should be favored into that. Maybe Lee Sin can abuse the early jungle of Ambessa, where she's not at her strongest, at her peak. But given that it's Desamis running the Lee Sin, I'm very, very worried, because if you're running Lee Sin, you want to win early. Like all the coaches are all small in there.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun here.
With the draft, I have no doubt. VKS has not shown me that they're much of an early game team. And that's a lot of pressure on Desamis now to deliver that he has to bear himself since he's got the early game champion who doesn't scale to him.
Yeah, I mean, the Pantheon, I don't know. I mean, he played the Pantheon well in game 1, so I'm not that worried. I mean, okay, yeah, Cade not themselves an early game team. Sure, I hear you, but I think, I don't know. Well, I guess it is a little different Pantheon versus Lee Sin, right? The more resources want to go into the Lee Sin. This isn't just kind of like show up and, tank and spank sort of, they don't play the same, but I have a little more faith in DeSamas here. Look, Lee Sin's still a tough champion to pull off and really make effective into the late game. Those concerns still stand, but I'm not as kind of, I don't know, I guess doom and gloom about as you are. Not to say you're, despairing.
I'm just saying, what I remember of DeSamas' Lee Sin is that he's one of the few junglers who's ever been solo killed by a support, and it was on Lee Sin.
Was that by the Lulu?
Yeah, that was Pro Delta Zulu back in the day.
I remember. Okay, cool. Glad we're
Ackerman's on Lulu too.
True. Yep. One polymorph, a good, one good empowered auto attack. After that, yeah, could be dicey. Surely
For now,
that doesn't
though,
happen
the
the second
early
time.
game, I do think VKS should have the early lead advantages across the board. Like we said, the Jace. I mean, as long as he's not getting tagged early on, he is still range into melee, so there are opportunities for Wiser here. Galio as well, notorious against mages for just being abusive in the early lane phase. Yes, you have to eat all the autos, but land a knockup and you win the trade, pretty much, and kind of win the lane pressure. Bot side, Yunara Lulu does take time to come online. Aphelios, not a champion we see a lot, but specifically with Calibrum, the sort of long-range sniper rifle, he's able to win a lot of the early trades just by outranging the opposition. It is somewhat nullified by the fact that it is double range into double range, but it is still something that can help him win these trades.
Yeah, no, absolutely no. It's kind of sneaky, right? I mean, absolutely something to watch out for. And into the red gun as well here, as yeah, I mean, and especially into a Yunara, right outside of the Transcendence, right? Not the most range, especially to Calibrum. How does the base range compare with the Fellows' base range, non-Calibrum?
It's significantly longer. So yeah, when he doesn't have Calibrum, like, and more importantly, it's the sort of Q, the ability for Aphelios gets. Like, he's able to actually snipe with that and outrange most AD carries that way. So it's kind of similar to like Total Repeat Maker, Volley from Ashe. When he doesn't have that, then obviously like, everything plays much more in close auto attack range. So that's why Calibrum becomes the sort of lane, or the trade gun that you want to see as Aphelios early on. Also, Red White has just kind of fallen off in terms of the amount of damage he can pump out, so it's less important.
Okay. Right, so our little rhyme doesn't work anymore. Red,
Yeah,
white,
I think
fight.
nowadays, yeah, the big guns that they're watching out for is Calibrum and Flamethrower. Whose name I'm blanking on. For team fights, just because if you crit on the explosion from the flame gun on your night visual, that just wins the fight right out. So.
All right, so we're looking out for it. Gravitum also obviously just eternally valuable.
What is the fire gun? It's something to do with fire. It's
Infernum.
something. Infernum. Thank you. It was
You're
bugging me that I forgot the name for a second. I was like, Calibrum.
Usually you help me out with the Aphelios guns. I'm usually pretty bad at that.
I
But
was like Crescendum and Severum, and I was like, what is this roam?
oh, and 2v2 as Dudum gonna be pop the barium, but feisty. Should be kind of a crazy roam there, but I guess you're saying, hey, if I lose into the Galio, it doesn't matter. First blood, and I prevented my bottom lane from getting 2v2 killed, and maybe dove. So all's well that ends well, I guess.
Funniest thing is I saw pings on the minimap coming in the mid lane, and I was just like, wait, where is
Surely.
Feisty?
That was kind of a wild timing, but it all worked out.
Okay, Wiser for now getting trapped in a bit of a baby cage there. I don't know why it's called Dark Procession, actually. The cage from Europe.
There's no procession. It's a lack of procession, actually.
Yeah, you're just locked in there. But you're starting to see the trade that we're talking about with the Yorick and how it's going to only get worse the moment Trinity Force gets picked up. If Wiser gets caught in there, he's just instantly forced to back out at that point. So, Zest, I don't know. He gets some sort of buff, man. Zest is such a strong solo lane top laner. It's weird. Like we joke about there's something called pro buff where like there's just hit harder, have extra range in pro for some reason. It feels that way. But like Zest is his own personal pro buff. We get CCO, Dudu, Ackerman, Ibwin kind of trading onto there. You see the Infernum pop in doing a lot of damage. Gravitum as well being really nasty. But the moment Feisty shows up, man, it's like just question marks. And if you watch the minimap, you had seen the pings coming down as well. Like I don't know whose pings they are either, because there was pings onto DeSamas invading at the same time. So it's just kind of, or pardon me, onto Drake Hero taking his Raptors, and I think they were thinking about counter invading. There's just a lot of question marks I feel like coming from that particular play, and I don't blame BKS for it, because who the hell is expecting the Zoe to roam down Like,
Yeah.
before, like that.
But, you know, you presumably had advance notice. So, you know, I can understand if people aren't, you know, aren't stoked about the fact that that got away. Someone wasn't watching their minimap. So, you know, whatever. But either way, much quieter early. Well, I say that, okay, and then Feisty's going to get himself another kill.
Wait, why is the Savage just standing there? Oh, I think he got tagged by CB Trouble Bubble. The summoners that Feisty was picking up there is kind of disgusting. The fact that he had heal and back pocket as well meant that he was going to be able to run down Mirio and have the extra heal and then the extra flash. It's just so hard to pin down Zoe, man. This is why I feel like early on in the season, there was a question of like, why are we seeing so much Zoe all of a sudden in Brazil out of nowhere? And I feel like just somebody in scrims was just messing everybody else up. Zoe pick. And you can see precisely why. Like, the pick potential is huge. The lane bully potential, if you luck out with RNG, is also really nice.
And she can really snow. I mean, and again, into... You are into a tank, so that's one less champion you can kind of bully or take out of a fight in the late game. But you know, as this game goes on... That's funny. Yeah, I just got hit by the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, I guess.
A really good presence of mind from Feisty too, to recognize that, hey, I'm getting ganked. Let's not use it on the target we want to kill. Let's just use it to create space. We don't need the Sleepy Trouble Bubble to secure.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was really sharp. Yeah, because I mean, usually it's just that is a part of your all-in combo. But Feisty, also it should be said, making good use of that ignite early on.
Yeah, very very strong sort of summoner, and we actually see it in the bot lane sometimes when it is in the bot lane. Like you'll see the bot laners use it just to get early proc on because the cooldown is so short for summoner spells as well. Wow, the amount of non-damage Mirio is doing right now is surprising. Like usually pre-6, like pre-first items and stuff like that, Galio actually has really high base damages. So if he lands the knock-up and then it changes into taunt to the Gales, the Winds of War with just your autos, you win most of those trades. But Mirio right now, yeah, he went defensive. Yes, he picked up 2 Ruby Crystals and a Null Magic Mantle, but he's not doing anything to Feisty here.
No. Did burn the flash there, but obviously Zoe can, you know, grab that back otherwise. Sio and Kaiwing just walking at Ackerman and Dudu as a couple more spells come back up. They're going to turn back around. In the bottom lane, just the 1 death and the 2 assists, so nothing much doing here. Both kills, yeah, have come from the hands of Los Grandes, from the hands of Feisty specifically. Haven't really translated into much, but the more accelerated that Feisty gets, look, that's never a bad thing. And again, you can take any one of these champions, not named Miru, out of this fight completely. And shoot, with enough of a lead, maybe you take Miru out of the fight as well. Cozy Campfire gonna help out just a little bit here. They, I think, saw him. Yeah. Oh, man, Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Feisty is just everywhere as the paddle start not going to land, unfortunately.
I'm glad, though, that VK has learned a lesson for the first time. Like, as soon as we saw Feisty at the camera, I was like, wait. And you can see all the pings just coming down on the mini-map there as...
It's like, hey,
Miru's
guys,
probably screaming, hey,
please.
I'm not outing for this, guys. Don't die. Like, I ain't moving. I'm trying to get plates here. And bot side, great ultimate from Kaiwing to make sure CP Trouble Bubble doesn't actually bag down on CO, or else that might have been a goal. But to your point, yeah, a bit of a slower early game coming through from Los Grandes this time. Only about less than 1,000 at the sub 10-minute mark. They are going to be able to pick up this dragon, but I feel like a lot of this is because Drake Hero, he needed time to come online, and now that he's got the public execution available, now that he is level 6, I want to see Drake Hero start conducting his train, you know, start ganking these lanes. He's got the gap closer now.
Yeah. As objectives traded, you do have that, like you said. Yeah, no, I mean, you've got the resources, like you said. You've got Feisty on a bit of a warpath. With this Yorick RMC, how are we feeling about what the answer to it is going to be? I mean, Weiser getting the better of the matchup so far. He's up a wave. You get the call, right? So feeling good enough, clearly, where he can just kind of opt out of it, I guess. And with the tier as well, delaying the gratification. Very un-Gen Z of him, but he is a bit of an unk of the scene. Feisty in a little bit of trouble. Okay. Gets the wild growth to get him some extra time. And now the public execution comes out. Drake Hero going to take him down. Feisty survives, and man, did he need that. That would have been so tragic if he went down like that. Drake Hero on the board. Los Grandes, it's all coming up. Los Grandes again for the 3rd game in a row in the early game.
How tilting do you think that is for VKS? It feels like they're struggling to track where everybody is. They were struggling to track Feisty in the early roams. Now they didn't track Ackerman leaving the bot lane. And that wild growth does make all the difference. Now, Dudu taking a bit of a beating under his own turret. Feisty roamed down with Ackerman, but actually opts to not stick around. So Dudu going to eat a lot of damage. The turret is going to eat a lot of damage. Now, I've got to assume that that will be a plate stripped off that bot side turret.
You would hope so. Yeah. I think it kind of has to be. You get something real out of that and get something going back into this game. Maiden down. Kaiwing again.
Yeah, you were asking about the Yorick now that you mentioned the
yeah.
Maiden. Sorry, forgot about that. Let me take the time to answer that because I don't think we'll see a kill on the bot. Ooh, actually.
Oh, maybe.
We should see a kill on the bot side. Dudu should recall after this. The answers from VKS. So the Jace is fine into it for now. Again, it's really when the Trinity Force comes through that I think that matchup really starts to flip. But in terms of like other answers, you've got the Galio to kind of dogpile into the bot side, so or into whichever the isolated lane the Yorick's at. So Cade have technically compositional answers into it. That's kind of why I didn't delve too deep into the Yorick pickup early on. Like, it's a good tool for Los Grandes. It fits their style, but Cade have answers. When it shows up to the fights, though, it will be a bit of a problem for Cade as well. While Yorick is not a great team fighter, the lowest comp just needs bot. And then you let your Yunara and Zoe go wild.
I imagine it'd be Miru answering him in the side lanes, maybe, but he is building that MR early on, so maybe not. But that's what I'm really watching is, you know, like you said, it kind of fits Los Grandes, right? We're gonna beat you over the head with our wallets early on and just kind of pull you around the map. And not really opt, you know, we're not going to opt into these kind of straight up 5v5s. We're just going to play a different sort of game. Drake Hero standing on the wards. CEO knows that there is trouble afoot in that middle brush. A couple of pings coming down here is Feisty looking to make things happen on the bottom side of the map. Again, Desamis looking for which way to go. Public execution. Not going to find anything. And now maybe that's the go button for Cade. Miru not able to interrupt Feisty's recall.
Feisty, the nerf. I don't know if Feisty was shopping or whether his nerfs were just that good. He just stood there as Miru came right on through. But for all that's been said and done, as much as Los felt like they had a bit of the lead in terms of what they wanted to do, the bot side, they are losing out on that. And due to not recalling earlier when Drake Hero showed up, opting to push that wave is potentially going to cost them that turret. If not now, then just in a couple of waves time. Yeah, it's just going to go down right now. That's going to be first break for BKS.
That's big. Gold lead even now. Is Cade in a much better spot than they were before and have a longer lane to play through. Hopefully you can manipulate that again with the Yorick, the Yorick of it all. As Dudu stomps forward. Probably should have known that he couldn't be there, but flashing forward now with Ackerman in tow. Speeds him up there. You can get a polymorph down to slow things down potentially. The ultimate burn there by Kaiwing. No stone left unturned. Not going to take any chances. CEO will be all right. Live to fight another day. And now Zet's going to get a gank here from Drake Hero. Wiser. We'll be okay.
Yeah, Drake Hero, no ultimate, no public execution to hold up. Maybe he's not okay. Are they diving this?
Unless they're just kind of dancing back and forth there as the Maiden summoned. Drake Hero should be able to get in one more auto. Yep, that'll do it.
I think there's no way, right? But yeah, the dive is good. Ackerman Dudu really far up the lane. Great dodge onto Thomas.
We'll get the polymorph down. That's a lot of damage down, but we'll kick him back. Dudu gonna get the wild growth. Should be all right. Transcends oneself. Gets the shielding up as well. It's not enough damage. Man, oh man. Is Samus able to get one before he goes down? Up on the top side of turret goes down as well. Feisty. Able to help out where he's needed. Grab himself another kill. Los Grandes. Get the lead right back. RMC just 2.3k gold out of nowhere.
That just feels like the start of the series. Out of nowhere, Los keeps finding these advantages in the early game. CEO and Kaiwing trying to answer in the mid lane with the... I guess it is better macro to go for these turrets early on, but just not having quite the answers in the side lane. And I'm going to be honest, Dudu's positioning has been scaring me a lot this particular game. He's playing so aggressively up into CEO and Kaiwing. Like, even this bot lane push, it was just like, okay, yeah, we pushed up with no vision on our side, no control. And then they just get punished. But they're kind of making it work, and that's been Dudu this entire year. Let's not forget, he is new to CBLOL. He just got the call up to Tier 1 this year.
Yep.
Back in the CBLOL Cup, but he's already absolutely performing. Ackerman as well, just keeping him alive for so incredibly long, lets them turn the tides. And when you add that to what happened topside with the Yorick finding the kill and therefore the turret, that's where this gold lead is seemingly coming from.
I'm grouping up in the mid lane. The Sleepy Trouble bubble does land, but able to buffer the Justice Punch beforehand. Second dragon of the game going to be fought over. Herald will probably be the consolation prize after all that. And a little BR ram beforehand. Yeah, both the lanes kind of evened up here as Zest going to grab himself the maiden, make his way down potentially to that bottom or that top lane tier 2. Just kidding. Going to take the scenic route here. He does have teleport if he wanted to get there in a little bit more of a hurry.
I don't know if we're really going to see a fight necessarily break out at this point. We are seeing Lowe's walk in first with the huge amount of pressure that Zest actually got on the top side. And I don't think Cade are ready to handle this. So let's talk a little bit about the compositions and how they're going to play on the mid game for it. Because for VKS, we talked a lot about how they should have gotten a bit of an early lead with Lee Sin, with the chase, with the Gallo. Now that they don't have it, fights become a lot more complicated. Because on one hand, team fights aren't terrible because of the Aphelios, but team fights are tough with the Aphelios because his front line's not going to be all that tanky. And this is where the Jace and Lee Sin start to become a bit of a question mark, because Jace wants to poke. He's not a great team fighter, and that's why Yorick is going to get away with not being a great team fighter in his own right. Lee Sin wants to make action happen, but he's also not great at team fighting. Great flash from Kaiwing to stay alive from the public execution there. And that raises the question, who's engaging for VKS? It's got to be like some sort of insect from the Samus, but into a Lulu, that's really tough. Or Kaiwing gets a Gravitum Moonlight Vigil to root multiple members, and if you're using it as a Gravitum engage, you don't have the Infernum pop, which is what you want to see as a team fighter, a team fight marksman for your team. Whereas those Grandes, it's a lot easier from them. They don't want a team fight either. They don't need to. They've got Zoe. You just go fishing, and if you land a CP Trouble Bubble, that's your engage or pick right there. Beyond that, you're just more than happy to split push on a side lane and have Drake Hero threaten people. So now that we hit the mid game where neither team has, well, VKS don't have great engage but want a team fight, Los Grandes don't want a team fight but have a lot of pick potential, it feels like it's whoever gets to the objective first and starts it up is going to be able to burn it down and or at least get control over the area to look for ways to kick things off, whether it be Desamis finding a flank angle or Los Grandes finding a pick in transition.
Drake and company going to grab themselves Shelly on top of the aforementioned dragon. See if Mirror wants any of the smoke. Got two bodies there checking it out just in case. About an item and a half for everybody. And Mirror just, again, a little too late on interrupting these recalls. Feisty. Oh, almost.
Yeah, if that had landed, the range that Feisty would have on that, especially onto, that's Kaiwing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a squishy.
Yeah. There's, I mean, he would have had 2/3 of his health bar just completely gone. Now Zest.
That's now with the Trinity Force.
I was going to say, yeah, he's on that Trinity Force. Now, TP coming in. Zest running away. The Maiden with a sacrificial lamb here. Dark Procession. Very nice. Cuts off Miru. And wards off, you would think, any sort of further advance.
He had Drake Hero and Ackerman in his back pocket as well. I think if Cade actually found the engage, they probably would have regretted it. They had Miru and Weiser looking to kind of make that pick happen, but Desamis was already out the area. Kaiwing and CEO were nowhere nearby. So much ado about nothing. Zest is going to continue being able to split push on this bot side. It looks like they were thinking about leaving Miru to match, but I suspect Miru might have an even worse matchup, as you said. A lot of magic resistance, not so much armor to handle.
Oof. Feisty hits 0 things of his combo there. Shelly going to get a charge off. In goes Miru with the Justice Punch. Drake Hero. Desamis just kind of doing a little side quest over there in the river. Feisty can't really find his mark with some of these spells, but in another 6 seconds, he'll get another shot at it. Meanwhile, Zest playing PvE. He's down there in that bot lane tier 1. Going to rip through that really, really quickly. He does have TP, so he can join the fight if needed.
Ooh.
Skullcrab picked up there on the top side. Mirror looking for the dive. Will that tower go down? It will. Now that's potentially could be Kate's go button. Now Los Grandes getting get the TP there from Zest. Like Vigil goes out. Drake Hero going to jump right onto his target. CEO will survive. He gets polymorphed as well, but somehow with the extra range, able to still have an impact on this team fight. Zest showing up, going to grab himself the kill. Feisty just barely stays alive. Los Grandes walk away with a kill. We'll traded it 1-for-1 at the end of the day.
And we get to see what happens when two teams who can't really team fight actually do end up team fighting.
It is sloppy.
Chaos. It is, and it's not like the players are playing poorly that results in the sloppiness. It's just that the battle lines are just very, very messy in terms of how things pan out. And then it just comes down to who has better backline access. And in that particular case, Los Grandes, with the threat of the flank from Zest, was bigger. It was a great cleanse as well from Kaiwing before all this starts up to make sure that he didn't go down. But now without that cleanse available, every sleepy trouble bubble counts. And landing it onto Desamis, that's just cooked, because now Zest is on the flank. Either you abandon ship and then kind of get split, or you turn and fight. And they opted to turn and fight, but it's not enough. Just losing one member is probably the best case scenario, but then they're still losing turrets. It's a mid for mid trade. And let's not forget, when all that started out, Zest was still happily taking his time in the bot lane, taking the outer turret down there. So Los Grandes coming ahead in that particular trade, albeit the turrets are still the same for both teams, and VKS are making sure that they don't fall too far behind. It's just feeling really awkward for them to try and keep.
Yeah, Los Grandes again playing with a little more confidence and a little more proactiveness, like in game 2, than they did in game 1. I'm going to be up here in just a little bit. Los Grandes have absolute purchase of everything in the river. Cade's way in looking really, really rough. I mean, like you can't even ult onto someone necessarily if you're Miru. Right, DeSamas, he's got to get in there potentially, but again, it's, your go button is a little bit tougher. You've got poke, I guess, kinda with Weiser, but let's see. Feisty on the other side of the wall, doing Zoe things, being annoying from afar. Now it's 3 dragons to 0 for Los Grandes. That could be the go button there. There's a campfire going to give Cade a little bit more sustain. Maiden going to get ripped through. But if that's all you lose, you're feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, frankly, the Dragon Take, I think, was the go home button for Los Grandes. Like, you've already got the objective. There's no reason to necessarily stay around. So point for Los Grandes, and it's going to be a big one taking this Hextech Soul. Not so much because of necessarily what it gives them, but you're denying it away from a poke composition, which is huge, or a comp that has a poker in the form of Weiser. It'll be big for Dudu as well to be able to get those, change those running a little bit to create more space for him to be able to pump out damage in these teams. And for VKS, I'm not liking the situation they're in right now. Like we said, they're either looking for picks with the Samus, or they're needing to set up team fights for CEO, but they don't have the engage necessarily to start things off. They're starting to lose control of the map. The split push from Zest is getting stronger and stronger, and they don't have the objective advantage to force Los Grandes into these fights. If Los Grandes opts to just give away the next 3 Drakes, they can do so for free. I can't believe that missed.
Tough, but should be able to bounce back all right here. Miru looking to the back line here. Ackerman, he wild growth himself. And Zest again, playing PvE. Weiser is on him. DeSamas chases Drake here out of the Baron pit. And that'll be all she wrote. Yeah, but interesting. I mean, Zest has done a pretty good job on this Yorick, being a little bit of a menace on the other side. And it has been Weiser who's been sent to respond to him. But Zest, he's been enough of a nuisance. He's used his teleport very well. I think we might be headed for a similar scenario here, RMC. Los Grandes have dominion over the Baron pit. You still can't see him going for it, but baiting VKS into a fight like that, I mean, they seem to have kind of done it all game, right? And VKS have been able to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and I think it was really well played from the Samus in the first place to actually get that wild growth out of Ackerman without losing his own out or summoners in return. We do get the standings as they stand currently, and you can see VKS tied 3rd with Loud right now. But it's so incredibly close. From first place to last place is a difference of just 4 series, which is basically all the series. But there's a huge muck in the middle where anybody could beat anybody. I mean, they show Los actually being tied with VKS. They're down in games, which I believe matters for tie breaks. But they're both 2-1. So whoever wins today stays in that top half, in that top 4 of the standings.
Los Grandes on the front foot to do just that. If they win this series, they will have won 2.5 games, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Cade, aside from a breath of life, pardon the pun, at the end of game 1, haven't really looked like they've had any sort of proactivity at all. A wild growth onto Zest, just gets on a Weiser public execution, gets on a Kai Wing. There's the breath of life, but Weiser eventually gets eliminated. Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands. There's the Moonlight Vigil on the back end, does take down Drake Hero, but is it too little too late? Hang on a second here. Kai Wing able to get the ult down. Miru goes forward. CEO melee range, just T-posing on kids. It's a 3 for 2 in favor of Cade, and a triple kill for this scaling menace, the Aphelios.
Okay, maybe Red and White, rumors of its death have been slightly exaggerated. CEO still ripping through them with that gun combination, but Los, I think, overextending as well, going underneath that turret. And that, as you said, might be the, no pun intended, breath of life that VKS needed to stay in this game. It starts off really well. They get the pick onto Weiser, and then Drake Hero's like, okay, we will dive this backline to make this happen. But I think at that point, they need to stop. Duda took 2 turret shots and still dashed forward. And we talked about how this rookie AD carry, he's aggressive. It's really, really nice to watch, but this is where that aggression, overextension really pays. Even if Miru doesn't show up, you just can't fight through that. You took way too much damage and you're disrespecting what the Aphelios can do. The worst part's when he switched from Severum to Calibrum partway through that fight. You already got the red-white stack, which already means that you're going to be hitting for an absolute truckload of damage every time those those chakrams go spinning out. But Severum gave him the range to then play the rest of that fight from safety as well.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly what happened. And now they're onto the Baron. I think RNC, they're going to get it pretty much uncontested. Do Los Grandes have a fight angle on the back end? That's the only question here, and it looks like the answer is a big fat no.
First of all, I can't believe they shut it quite that quickly. And second of all, I'm getting flashbacks to game 1 4x4.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, it's me finally like hinting at, this game might be over, and then that's all Cade need to apparently kick into gear.
Okay, and in inner turrets again, standing, like they were in game 1. A lot of standing goal for Cade Stars. The goal lead is not that big either. In game 1, Los Grandes was like a 10,000 goal lead when Cade started coming back into the game. This time, they were only about a 3,000, now 2,000 gold advantage. And Los need to be a bit more careful about how they approach these. I still think they're strong in these face-off situations, but the fact that Zest can't afford to go and split push on his own right now does give Cade windows of opportunities to look for the team fights that they want.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, it's just one more thing to kind of play around as Miro goes in, gets a taunt off onto Drake Hero. CEO trying to stay safe in that brush. That is such a big win condition for them. Drake Hero and finally in the back line, they're ripping through Miro, but is it enough? Zest taken low, Feisty taken out of the fight for now. Get right back in with a flash, with a paddle star, with a sleepy trouble bubble, wild growth on a Drake Hero, now the damage on Miru.
Okay.
BKS is down a tank, and now Duda, he transcends. He says, hold on a second. They're not the only one with an 80 carry. Samus with the hero play gets forward. Duda with the kill, as well as CEO with the kill as well. Not Duda, I mixed up 80 carries. Apologies. Duda went down. And now with the TP, potentially Cade. Yeah, they're going to be able to take down this dragon and thwart off Soul Point. RMC. It's happening.
It is. Now, remember, we did say that Los Grandes could afford to give up the next 3 Jakes, and it would not be the end of the game.
Yeah, but it's not about the dragon.
True. It is about this fight that they did kind of lose. And they initially played really well, really patient. They're not overextending. But if you watch Feisty, I'm afraid that Feisty just didn't have the impact he needed to. That paddle star didn't hit. And Feisty is struggling to actually find traction in this game. If that paddle star hits, the game would have turned. Miri would have probably died a lot sooner. Instead, they can't quite find the angles. Duda has to step up really far, probably egregiously far, to make that happen once again. And then Samus, like you said, with the hero play to turn things around. And he needed to, right? This Lee Sin pick is a very controversial pick right now in the current meta at the best of times. And you're seeing that he didn't have the early game impact. Well, he sure as heck needs to have the mid to late game impact. And finding the enemy AD carry, taking him out, that would definitely do it. You can also see that Duda in that fight still did a ton of damage.
Yeah, he was
If
monstrous.
he had lived any longer, he carries that fight.
No, he was really, really strong, like you said. No, it's going to be. I mean, that's kind of what you're watching for, right? I mean, yes, both comps have these kind of difference makers in the Lee Sin, in the Zoe that can swing a fight, really, really big. Drake Hero as well can ult, right, and just turn a fight around. But the 280 carries, make no mistake, those are the main characters.
Whether they live or die.
Yep.
The longer they live, the more likely that team is to win the
Yes.
Baron about to wear off, actually, for BKS. They've gotten no push. Actually, just wore off. They have gotten no push so far with the Baron. Instead, they secured 1 Drake with it. Now, it does feel kind of bad that that's all they found, but I don't hate it for Cade Stars. You need baby steps to get back into the game. If you've done it once, maybe you can do it again.
No, wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, it does, like you said, it kind of feels bad, but look, given the way that the game was progressing, Los Grandes, they got themselves in a really strong position. And more crucially, I think just the big thing, it's not even like the Baron push itself, it's kind of what has happened during, the last few minutes when the Baron push was up. CEO has turned into an actual 80 carry. He's on 3 items. Now, it is a really good 3-item spike for Dudu as well. Those Fiend Hunter Bolts with the anti-heal now and the Armor Shred plus the Kraken Slayer. Once he gets that IE, I'm assuming that's going to be that 4th item completed. Look out. But CEO is on now 4 items, so he's feeling really strong as well. And that's the thing, right? You've got yourself an avenue back into this in the late game.
Yeah, and I feel like there's more pressure on Los a little bit when they start hitting that 4th item. 4th item being completed for CEO. Because we've seen the Infernum do a lot of damage, and Los tend to want to clump up together. It's not ideal for them, but out of safety to make sure they're not getting picked by Wiser or Samus, they are clumping, and that means the Infernum hits that much harder. If they don't get hit though by Infernum, then you're going to see Dudu really take over these fights once he picks up the Infinity Edge, because there's no true tank on the side of VKS either. He doesn't need the Lord Doms that early. The increased crit multiplier from IE is just going to hit way harder than that, and you're looking at who's going to frontline that. Is it going to be Samus? Is it going to be Wiser? It's going to be Miru, and Miru is not a true tank either.
Yeah, and he only has magic resist, kind of as far as the items he has built, even his boots, right? Not the case. So, So yeah, I mean, you're gonna have a lot of health, but Dudu is just gonna rip through him like a hot knife through butter. Speaking of, my goodness, Moonlight Vigil doesn't do its most, but with the Caliburn proc off the back end, Dudu taken completely out of the fight. There's Feisty taken out of the fight as well. Zest kind of looking like, okay, do I go up? Do I go back? Right, he had the push down there going in the bottom lane, but maybe had to backtrack a little bit. The mid lane tier 2 goes down. Cade, little by little, eating into this Los Grandes gold lead. I mean, it's essentially a nominal gold lead at this point.
Yeah. It's pretty much dead even as far as I'm concerned. Like 30 minutes in, when you're looking at like 55, 60,000 gold. What's 1,000 in there? It's not a significant figure, less than 2%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's nutty to me that CEO is kind of brute forcing his way into this one. That snipe onto Dida was nuts. And for VKS, right? The new players coming in for them are Wiser, coming in for Bull, who, you know, VKS kicked for having attitude issues. And then CEO coming in for Morteus, which I think was slightly...
It was the more surprising one.
Controversial. Yeah, but it kind of flew under the radar for the most part because Morteus was doing a fantastic job. He's over at Red right now and ripping things up over there. But when you see a big name like CEO available, you take him for a reason. And this game in particular, you get to see that reason why they were willing to sideline a great AD carry who was developing in his own right in Morteus for this name. He's an AD carry who can solo win you a game sometimes if he finds the right things.
Yep. He really is. I mean, he is high level. As Dudu and Ackerman taken out of the fight by one. DeSamis with the vintage insect play. Gonna follow Dudu to the back of the fight as well. Gonna get the GA down. Miro gonna get on him with the hero's entrance as well. Miro lapped up by the dark passage. But man, what a play by DeSamis to kill the Lulu and start the death march for Vivo Cade Stars.
Without Ackerman, I mean, he's just a support, but without Ackerman, Dida is only half the champion he needs to be. He can't afford to step up. Feisty doesn't find Miru. Miru does not find Feisty either. And just like that, that should be the last shot. Los get at this Baron. VKS back-to-back Barons once again. Second time this series from a losing position. Once again, taking the ascendancy.
That is famously their comfort zone, I guess. Now, double TP here from Cade trying to pull off a miracle as far as his Hextech Soul is concerned. They are not going to get it, not even close, actually. But
need to turn on this.
With a new lease on life and some confidence, Drake here misses the public execution, but he still goes forward. Feisty trying to get in there. DeSamis gets nothing. Well, no, he got one, excuse me. Fed it to Wiser. And now Miru trying to buy some time for the rest of his carries, like CEO, who is just ripping through everybody. Wiser all of a sudden has woken up. Now, Cade are absolutely in control of this one.
They have Baron. Can they look to end? It's 50-second death timers on the carries right now. They're going to try. Zest needs to try and hold this. But yeah, Yorick, yes, you're good at pushing, but into a burned up team, not a lot of options. Less than 10 seconds to take an inhibitor. Turret, less than 5 to take the inhibitor.
Get the inhib for sure. The wave is taking its sweet time getting up there. If they can get a pick onto Zest, then maybe Ackerman, my goodness. Where did your health go, brother? CEO, yeah, they're just going to end here. CEO going to take the tower, take another one. Can he get close enough here? Zest, he's just being a body, saying, look, you're going to have to get through me now. Wiser boots Ackerman into the fountain. CEO, can he get forward? Yeah, a couple more autos is going to do it. The shutdown goes over, but what a play. What a game from Vivo Cade Stars. Miro looking like he's going to kiss CEO on the mouth, and why the heck not? He won them that game.
He's running. Miru knows that this was not his series. He did not carry this. But CEO, my goodness. What an insane performance from him. And even at the end there from VKS, whoever made that call to just turn and punish immediately. Huge props to them. DeSamis, though, not quite as, excited as Miru there, but I think he to me was an even bigger MVP than CEO. He managed to find multiple picks, and I guess it shows why they let him pick that Lee Sin. Very much
I guess, man.
Champion. Yeah, the margins of error on that champion are so low right now, and yet DeSamis, brute force, made it work, found the picks, punishing Ackerman, punishing Dida multiple times in this game.
Vivo Cade Stars, man. I mean, oh god, this hurts real bad if you're Los Grandes. You gave Cade away back into this one. Obviously, that game one is going to live long in the memory. Los Grandes absolutely has some stuff to fix, but RMC, I mean, I'll put it to you this way: if you were to just rank how you feel about VKS, 1 to 10, 10 being best team in the league, 1 being worst team in the league, like by far. where would you put Cade now? Where'd you have them in the beginning of the series? How much does this change your perception of Cade?
Let's just do 1 to 8 because that's like the standings, right? Like they are 4, unfortunately to me. I still don't trust them 4, but they're there. They're pulling some Loud-esque nonsense, it feels like right now in Split 1, but Loud won the cup. So
yep. And they have a title to their name this split.
Happens?
Nobody else does.
They do. Yep. Like, I'm just shocked at this series still. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. Let's just on Fraud Watch after this weekend. Like that's 2 back-to-back losses they've had, where it's been a huge surprise. And for Vivo, Kate Stars, yeah, I'm not convinced by their wins today. But you know what? CL already said earlier this week that we just need time. Like, and you know what? We'll give them another week. Week by week, they do seem to be improving, and a win's a win. They are now currently sat comfortably at 3rd over Loud, I believe. Just to wait, is that right? No, because Loud will be playing after this. So
yep,
we will see at the end of today where they stand, but they are comfortably top 4 for now.
Yep. If you need time as a coach, no better way to buy yourself some time and stacking up a couple wins in the meantime. And this is, I mean, seriously, right? But like, and this is the exact kind of win that you needed, right? I mean, I don't think anyone, no honest Cade fan is saying, well, we've got to be able to beat, Red right now. Down the line, maybe. Split 2, maybe. Right now, they're playing a different game than you. They're playing League of Legends 2. You are playing League of Legends 1. Right now, you need to beat teams in and around your bucket, and one of those is Los Grandes, who have proven they can bloody some noses. So, a good series win by Cade, and they did it through some really adverse circumstances. So, hats off to them. Yeah, after this game, we do have Loud versus Fluxu. We're not going to be able to cast, though, unfortunately. Like you said, cast in production. We do this, and especially on a weekday, we do it for free. So our responsibilities occasionally line up in a disadvantageous situation. So, but hey, we got the good series. Yep. I was going to say I'm confident of that, but I'm not confident of anything anymore. RMC, any last words before we sign off?
One hell of a series, and we're going to have a lot to talk about on the podcast this week. This weekend has been absolutely nutty, but that's CBLOL, right? It's always chaos. We never know what's going to happen. So even after it happens, right? For sometimes I'm still not sure what happened.
No, but like you said, we're going to dissect it all tomorrow. So, yeah, if you, we have links to, I believe, our Discord in here. Yep, we got our community Discord in the Twitch chat, in the Twitch. So just, scroll down there, join the community Discord. There you can find links to all our videos, our YouTube channel. Our podcast is available on Spotify and YouTube. So, yeah, hear us break down all of those things. Tune into Gringos Liberados. That's the name of our podcast. And, yeah, we will see you this coming weekend. Yeah, not same time, but it is the same place. So, for RMC, for DR producer, I've been 4x4. Have a great day.